sun is beaming down here in South Wales. Not for much longer, it seems, according to weather apps, but we're here at Llandow, the South Wales Karting Centre, for round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships. My name is Ross McIntyre, and alongside me today, as always, is Lewis Ray. Lewis, pleasure to have you here. How are you feeling looking into this one?
Yeah, I'm feeling mixed emotions going into this weekend because weather forecast is not looking good. A lot of these riders haven't actually had the time on this track in wet conditions before, so it's a real learning experience for all the riders.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. I mean, we saw some torrential rain in this morning's practice sessions. Luckily, it seems like it's going to be dry for the remainder of it, but just absolutely hammering it down. So it's going to be really interesting seeing out there how all the riders are going to cope.
Yeah, it certainly is. All these riders just have to use their head, find time on the track, just take it slow and really just build yourself up for this weekend.
Absolutely. So we've got a few riders here on hand, so why don't we come along and steal a few of them perhaps. Hello, fancy a chat? Anyone fancy a chat? Come on in. I'm liking the blue tongue. How are you feeling?
Good.
So you look, it's a bit wet, obviously. How's the bike feeling? You looking forward to the rain?
Well, I feel pretty confident in the wear. And we've just been having some issues with like bikes moving around.
And well, I mean, is this a circuit you enjoy? You know, it's pretty tough out there. Very bumpy coming into the back section of the track as well.
Well, it's a good track. But the last time I came here, I broke my arm. But that's not stopping me to winning.
So you're feeling confident then?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff, thank you very much. And let's grab Harry Payne as well. Harry, come on. I've got to chat to you coming to this one. Obviously, last time we were here, didn't go too well. Ended up knocked out and being asleep for a little while. But, you know, you're back here. Very brave of you. How are you feeling?
Very nervous as they're coming into that final corner. I'm always sort of testing my brakes down that straight just to test if they actually work.
And well, of course, you know, again, to be back here is fantastic, and it's great to see you here as always. But you know, you're coming in here, you're just looking to get some good results in.
Yeah, kind of, because this morning warm up in the wet, I got P6, which I'm happy with. Obviously, after my crash, that's really good for me.
Well, best of luck out there. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Let's grab Sullivan Mounsey as well, because we're here. Hello.
Hi guys.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, alright. I didn't go out in the last session because my motor-free wets are actually so old that I've done the whole of pre-season on them, so there's no point me really riding in the wet, so we're just going to wait until it's dry if it does dry, but it's been alright this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like it's not going to be dry tomorrow. I think the rain's going to hold off for the rest of today. So, you know, looking forward to the weekend. How are you feeling? Comfortable on the bike?
Yeah, we only got here this morning and just kind of rolled out, and it was all right. But I keep thinking it's a very sweeping, wide track. But when I was here on a mini moto, it seemed like that. Now I come here on the Moto 4, and it's kind of tight and biddy and a bit annoying. But I'm just gonna have a bit of fun if I do go. But it depends really if it's gonna be wet or dry.
And how's the bike feeling? Obviously, it kind of ended up in a million pieces last time out. Is it all fixed up?
Yeah, all the bikes fixed up. We've got better brakes now, turns out. So I've actually got a rear brake and a front brake, so it'll be all good now.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks so much, Sully, and of course, best of luck this weekend. Sure you'll smash it.
Thank you, guys.
And as well, let's see if we can snag a few more of our riders. You fancy an interview? So, how are you feeling? Looking forward to the weekend?
Good.
Just good?
Yeah.
I mean, do you like Llandow? I mean, it's obviously the only round that we have outside of England, so there's that little kind of special element about it here in South Wales, but it's a tricky track, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a tight and fast corners.
And, you know, are you looking forward to it? How's the bike feeling coming forward to it?
Yeah, it's good. It bogged out in qualifying, so I'm hoping it doesn't do that in...
Awesome. Well, best of luck.
Pardon?
Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks.
It is quite noisy out here in the bikes, but let's see if we can grab Charles here. Charles, you are up for a quick word?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Here with Charles Mortimer. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, good, thanks very much. Yep, enjoying another FAB meeting.
Of course, they're all brilliant, aren't they? And well, why don't you explain to some of the viewers at home what you're doing here at FAB today?
Well, I work for Michael Laverty in his academy, and I run the FAB team. We've got Ethan here, Ethan Sparks, Ronnie Harris and Archie O'Brien. And I'm just, 2 of the boys are going to go on to other things next year, so I'm looking to bring 2 more boys up to our team for next year. And just looking at all the amazing talent that's here in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. Was that a bit of a job offer potentially for a few riders?
Possibly, possibly.
And well, of course, it's great to see, the dedication from Vision Track Academy as well, to come to these Fab events, to put together a team like that. It's obviously a big investment from you guys, but do you really just believe in the young talent that we've got here in the UK and you're willing to help them rise the ranks?
Yeah, I think for too long, British kids haven't had the opportunities that the foreign kids have been afforded. And we're very, very lucky that Vision Track have backed this, because of course they're in Moto 3, British Talent Cup, European Talent Cup, and BMB. Without people like Simon Marsh and people that are prepared from Vision Track and people that are prepared to put some money into it, it's always going to be very, very difficult for the parents to afford to get their kids on. And this is a perfect scenario. We've got a stepping stone right the way through to MotoGP.
And that's brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Charles, and best of luck for the team this weekend.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Well, Lewis, again, great to see the dedication from Vision Track as always. Great to hear from some of the riders as well. And again, conditions not looking the nicest this weekend, but high spirits here. I think everyone's looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think they are. They're just going to have to use their head, as I mentioned before. And it's great, actually, with the Vision Track Academy, what they're doing here at FAB. And just, they've not been here too long, and already the development they made on the riders and the talents of the future for the UK, it's a real sign for things to come.
Absolutely. So, let's see if we can potentially grab a few more riders to chat to. I'm noticing one Ethan Sparks in here. Ethan, any chance for a quick word? Yeah. Go on then. So, championship leader, reigning champion. Obviously, Llandow's a track that probably holds quite good memories for you. How are you feeling coming back?
It's pretty good, yeah. Last season I did quite well here, but not many people have ridden in the wet here, so I think it'll be quite difficult for a lot of people, but I think it should go well.
That's great to hear, and of course, coming off of the last round as well, you've now kind of established yourself as the championship leader. You've kind of fought back from those early struggles, and are you feeling confident?
I'm feeling quite confident. Even if I fall off a few times and get a DNF, I still have a lead in the championship, but it's good to just stay on and keep a big lead.
And well, what's your plans for the future? Of course, we're not expecting you to have around Fab forever, as nice as that would be. But of course, you won the championship last year. You're leading the championship this season. So what's next?
Hopefully next year I can race in Moto 4 in Spain and do that for 2 years. And then because the ages have gone up in BTC, I have to wait a long time. But when I turn 14 to go to BTC.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks so much, Ethan. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
And let's see if we can grab some others as well, some of our younger riders who are with us this weekend. Enjoying your lolly? Is it good? So yeah, how are you feeling coming into the weekend?
Actually, quite amazing because the first session of the pros I was second. Then now in the quali, I've gone down to fourth.
Well, fourth is still pretty good, to be fair. There's plenty of opportunities here at Llandow, lots of overtaking zones. And, just speaking to some of the other riders, they're saying not a lot of people have been around here in the wet. So is that something you may be a little bit nervous about?
No, because I talked to the one that owns the track. He said, oh, it's not slippy in the wet. So I'm quite looking forward for the wet now.
Well, we've got 2 races to look forward to in the soaking rain on Sunday. And well, what do you think you can achieve here? You looking for wins, podiums, just finish the race, get some track time?
Probably get in the podium and hopefully get a win.
Well, that'd be pretty awesome if you did. Have some fun this weekend, and yeah, good luck.
Thanks.
And yeah, Lewis, again, great to hear from a whole range of riders there, some of the team bosses as well that we have here at FAB-Racing. And again, spirits high looking into the weekend, even with the rain holding off now, we've seen for the rest of today. It's great to see everyone having a good weekend as always.
Yeah, it is, and you hear from some of the riders there, they're not scared at all of what's up for them this weekend. They're so brave, and we're going to see that in the race. And like usual, I'm expecting some great racing. Llandow, whenever we're here for round 2, it produced some excellent racing. We've seen almost Moto3 style races in some of the classes, so I assume that we're going to see much the same this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, of course, it's one thing to know as well, this is going to be the third weekend in a row, the third round at FAB in a row that we had that is going to be in the wet. Of course, last time at Wilton Mill, pretty torrential rain coming down early Sunday morning, and then as well at Clay Pigeon there was a bit of rain coming down. So, you know, bit of a wet streak. Despite all the heat we've been having here in the UK, it's seemingly we turn up and it rains. So something going on there. But again, it's experience in the wet for these young riders, which is fantastic because, you know, at the end of the day, FAB, you know, it's about starting your career and progressing and developing your talents as a rider. And it's great to see these guys getting all the opportunity that they do.
Yeah, it certainly is. And every single round, every single race actually for these guys is a real learning experience. But yeah, I think we're going to see, well, we're really going to see where the talented riders are today and who can really take to the conditions the best at a circuit that many of them, as you mentioned, haven't raced in the rain.
Why don't I hand over to you so you can speak to a few people, eh?
Yeah, right. So let's have a little word here to Philip Sorowiak. Philip, can I have a quick chat?
Yeah.
So, of course, you're racing in the Extreme 200s this weekend, and it's the second time that we've been at Llandow this year. Obviously, at round 2, you were pretty fast. You were really impressive. Are you looking to do much the same this weekend?
Hopefully. It would be nice to have some battles with maybe Evan Belford and Sullivan Mountsie if the weather kind of changes a little bit, because in the wet right now, it's my first time here in the wet, so I'm getting used to it. And on the KTM, it takes so long to change the tyres. It's really annoying.
And how have you found the conditions so far this morning in the wet?
I've done like 3 laps, but it feels pretty alright. It doesn't feel too bad. The top section down at the right-hander over there, it has a bit of patchy tarmac, so it does get a bit slippery, but other than that, it's alright, yeah.
And obviously you've been racing the British Talent Cup this year. How's your season went so far? Why don't you tell everyone at home?
My season's been alright. We're still finding the right setup, as it's been pretty difficult. But at Silverstone, I got top 15 from 25th on the grid. I was really happy with that. And maybe I can fight for the top 15 in the next couple of rounds.
And what's your end goal for the British Talent Cup this year? Where do you want to finish in the championship, or is it just right now getting as much experience as you can on the bike?
Yeah, I don't really care about the championship too much. I mostly care about the results that I get towards the end of the season, because now we're trying to just do things with the suspension and the setup, and it feels better than it did at the start. So right now we're just hoping for top 15s.
And here at FAB, are you aiming for anything? Do you want to win the championship this year in the Extreme 200s, or what's your plan here at FAB?
Yeah, I'm aiming to win the championship, as I've only missed 1 round, so I have quite a big lead, and mostly in races it's to try and get a top 3 or a top 2, something like that.
Well, best of luck for this weekend and the rest of the season.
Thank you.
So let's have a quick word here to Bill Harris. Bill, can I have a quick word? So Bill, of course, Ronnie's younger brother, racing in the 50s this year. How have you found the Mini GP 50?
Yeah, it's going alright. I got a podium at Clay Pigeon.
And how have you found wet conditions so far this year? Because obviously this is going to be the 3rd race weekend in a row really that's going to be wet.
I don't really mind the wet that much. I do alright in the wet. So I'm not too upset that it's wet. I don't mind if it's dry or wet.
And Ronnie racing in the 70s, your older brother, has he give you any advice this year, any tips?
Yeah, he's given me quite a bit of advice.
What sort of advice has he gave you?
He's just given me tips into corners that I'm not doing correctly and stuff like that.
And how do you find Llandow as a circuit? Is it a circuit you enjoy?
Yeah, I really like this circuit.
What's that you like about this track?
I like all the flowing corners and the long straights and stuff.
And what's your aim for this weekend here at Llandow? We're coming to the closing stages of the season. Are you looking at a championship now, or is it still just try and get the best result as possible on track?
Just trying to get podiums really, getting the best result I can.
Well, good luck this weekend, Bill. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And just next to Bill, we have Henry McCartney. Henry, how are you feeling going into this weekend?
Well, it's been raining quite a lot and I'm really confident since Clay Pigeon, so I feel like I can get the podium or maybe even the win.
Yeah, you go quite well in the wet. Obviously, some riders aren't here this weekend. Marco Holt, who's in Spain racing. So is that maybe the opportunity for you to grasp and just get a better result, maybe because he isn't here?
Yeah, Marco Holt is is very fast rider and he's a good rider to battle with. But without him here, it's going to be quite a lot easier to get a top position. So yeah.
And you and Mark Holt, you're good friends off track. Mark Holt is quite an interesting name on TikTok. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
I don't really know, to be honest.
Just a joke?
Yeah, just jokes.
Well, what's your plan for this weekend? Is it just go out there, have fun, or is it, as you mentioned, just focus on trying to get that race win?
Well, if it starts raining, then I think I got the luck with me. But also if it's dry, I think I'm going to have quite a good race with Ethan Sparks and Ronnie Harris.
And at round 2, in the Mini GP 70s, it was such close racing between all of you. It was almost like a Moto3 race. What was it like to be on the bike whenever it's racing that close?
Well, it's just, you don't really set your mind to anything, you just set your mind straight ahead. And there's the adrenaline, it makes you just feel really focused.
And finally, Henry, you mentioned that you've been going well in the wet this year. What do you think it is that gave you that pace and gave you that confidence in the wet?
I think because I've never really rode in the wet and I don't really know the limits, so just trying to find out the limits, go as fast as I can, and then one day I will find out the limits.
Well, thanks for talking to us, and we wish you luck for this weekend.
Thank you.
And Ross, why don't you come back over here? And yeah, all the riders right now, mixed feelings in the paddock, I think, and each rider that's taken this weekend completely differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to approach every race weekend as a fresh start. Obviously, you know, different track, different conditions. You may not have been here before, you may not have ridden it in the wet before. So you kind of got to go in and see what happens. And of course, Llandow, you know, we come here quite a lot. It's kind of almost the FAB-Racing track almost. It's the second time we're visiting this season, of course. So many of the riders are very familiar with it, but of course very sunny when we came last time, and it hasn't rained here in a fair while when we've been visiting. So, and it is tricky in the way. It's not too slippery in the wet, but there's lots of bumps and potholes and just joins in the track, and it makes it very, very tricky, especially down the far end of the circuit. So it's going to be tricky out there, I think. So it's going to be interesting, but you know, mixed spirits. I think once the racing starts, though, it'll be heads down.
Yeah, and obviously this weekend there's quite a lot of drama before the weekend even has started, to be honest, because in the Mini F1 sidecars, Mick Williams, our championship leader, by 74 points, I believe. His passenger, Mike Elms, will not be on the sidecar this weekend and will not be on the outfit, and instead it's going to be a new sidecar passenger, and it's really going to mix up the championship, I feel. It's going to be, and with these conditions, it's going to be some interesting racing. It's going to be just a real chance to see if Mick Williams can capitalise on this and really just try to hold his championship lead. Yeah,
absolutely, of course. Mike Helms is he's off having a baby at the moment, so congratulations to Mike and his family. But you know, when you're on a sidecar, you know, the relationship that you have with the passengers is so important. You've really got to know each other and how each other work, like the back of your hand. It's almost like, you know, having an extra limb on you or something. It's just, they're so vital. And you know, even with someone experienced in the passenger, if you've not been on the bike with them before, you're going to struggle the first time out. And you know, with the wet as well, we know that Mick Williams, he's not the biggest fan of when it rains. You know, the bike doesn't quite work as well as it does in the dry. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, knowing that outfit, I think they'll do absolutely fine. And I think they'll still be competitive. Will they be as competitive as they usually are? I'm not sure. We'll have to see, especially come Sunday when it's raining. But yeah, you know, I think we've got to wish them the best luck anyway. It's a tough ask, you know, jumping on the bike with a completely new person there. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yep, and confidence in all these riders. There's really mixed emotions this weekend, but everyone's feeling great, everyone's feeling good, everyone's looking forward to 2 great days of racing. So let's hear from a couple more riders and some interviews that we've done just earlier, and well, we'll see you out on track. So Finlay, Paul Hill, we're here. It's the start of the weekend. How are you feeling going into here at Llandow for the second time?
Well, it's been brilliant. I've topped all the mini moto sessions and third in most of the 50 sessions, so it's gone a lot better than recent, and there's hope to carry on.
And obviously you're racing in 2 classes. What is your main aim for this weekend? Is it the Metro Kit or is it the Mini Moto?
A bit of both. Just win the mini moto races and get a podium in the 50s.
And with the Metro Kit 50, how have you felt that you've developed and how have you felt that you've adapted to the bike this year?
Well, it's quite hard to like adapt to it because it's a big bike coming from a little bike, so you have to get used to all the gearing and stuff. There's lots to go with it, and yeah, just trying to get the riding style right at the minute, and other than that, I was good.
And obviously you had an injury earlier on in the season, having to miss a round for it. How is your arm doing?
Oh, it's a bit weak still, but I can just about ride.
And do you notice your arm when you're riding the likes of the Mini GP50 still?
A little bit, mainly like tucking in just because it hurts when I bend it a lot, but other than that it feels alright, like corners and braking and stuff.
And with weather looking to be wet again this weekend, are you excited for that, or is it something that you're almost dreading?
Well, I'm mainly dreading, but I've never ridden around here in the wet, so I don't really know what the grip levels are.
And Llandow is a circuit. Is it a track that you usually like going around? Is it a track that suits your riding style?
Yeah, it suits my riding style a lot because I'm on the LC. It's a lot easier to get down the straights and stuff, and it's a lot easier to like overtake the pro bikes as they've not got the same amount of speed. So I quite like this track.
And obviously you're racing in 2 classes this weekend. Is it something that takes a couple laps to get used to, just get your mind in a different mindset for being on a mini moto to a metric kit?
Yeah, it's very different, especially because the Mini's a lot faster than the 50. It's just smaller and bigger. They don't work well together, I find.
Well, good luck this weekend, Finlay, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
So look, it's round 6 now here at FAB. We're back here at Llandow. How are you feeling going to Llandow with it being the second time this year?
Yeah, I mean, the first time we had a bit of bike trouble. The suspension wasn't quite set up right, and I crashed twice on the same corner. It completely knocked my confidence, and we had a bit of engine trouble as well because the gearbox went tight. So we didn't have the best time, but this weekend now I've had Clay and Wilton just to get my confidence back. I think I can win this weekend, so good.
And well, you're obviously racing in the 50s and the 70s. What's your main aim for this weekend? What class are you focusing on?
I think I'm focused on the 50 because I'm leading the championship. But on the 70, the last 2 races I got podiums, and earlier on I was second to Ethan, and he didn't pull away much. So I feel pretty confident on both bikes, but I think the 50 is our main priority. Yeah.
And in the 50s, Marco Holt's not here this weekend, so are you just focusing on keeping Archie behind you?
Yes. It's a shame that Mark is not here. He's got a Moto 5 race in Spain, but I'm 6 points ahead of Marco, and I think 20 in front of Archie. So if I can just get a few more points than Archie, I think I have a good chance of the championship. So it's really good. Yeah.
And obviously the sun's out right now, so last 3 rounds, well, last 2 rounds it's been raining. It looks like it's going to do the same this weekend. Would you rather it staying dry, or do you not mind the wet?
I mean, at Clay I won by 8 seconds in the rain, and then at Wilton I won by 16 seconds. So I think if it's dry, I think I can win, but if it's wet, then I am not complaining. So I think we're going to have a good chance this weekend.
Well, good luck this weekend, Luke, and I wish you all the best.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I'm here with Oliver Hall in the AC40 Pro, last year's Rookies Champion. How are you feeling towards this weekend, Oliver?
It's been better. I'm struggling on the new Pro bike, feeling it tough, but we've done another setup, so it made me do a 55.2, so it's a good result.
And what's been the biggest change that you've made on your bike?
Probably the gearing, but basically now I'm going actually slamming on the brakes, not going like that. So then I can go into corners faster, and then just makes it easier.
And well, moving up to the pros this year, what has been the biggest thing that you've learned from moving up from the rookies to the pros?
It's a much faster bike on the straight, but I like it. It's a good feeling.
And talking about faster bikes, multiple times this year you have tested the Metrikit Mini GP50. How have you found that experience on such a bigger bike and such a more powerful bike?
It's fun, but I do like the metric kit because it's much faster, and I'm competing in. I've got to try like more harder on that because then you've got to get all the gears right and stuff. And then I mastered that, so now we just, when we do go back on it, we need to just try and get a good result in the timing.
And what's the biggest difference that you felt from going from a mini moto to that mini GP50?
I actually liked it. It's a difference because it has clutch and gears and it's much bigger, but I like it, to be honest.
And Llandow, it holds quite some happy memories for you. This is obviously where you won the championship last year. So heading into this weekend, how are you feeling and what are you aiming for?
I'm feeling very confident and I'm aiming for a podium because if I get a podium I can go on the metric kit to race it. But even if I do get a podium, it's good to get podiums, so it's fun.
Well, let's hope you get that podium and good luck for this weekend.
Thank you.
So I'm here with Sam Gardner, and Sam, you've had a season of up and downs. How have you personally felt that it's went?
I feel good about most of the podiums and how I'm standing in the championship currently, but the lows have been quite a difficult time to feel the confidence to get back on the bike, really.
And this year it's been a massive learning curve for you. Like, what would you say personally has been the biggest learning curve for this season?
Probably harder braking and corner speed.
And, well, you're, as you mentioned, quite a good position in the championship at the moment. Do you feel any pressure from that, or how are you approaching it now that we're at round 6 and getting towards the end of the season?
I feel confident and nervous because I'm not very far in front of third place in the championship, but I don't know if I'm going to pull that gap or they're going to close it down to me and overtake me. But either way, I just hope I get a good spot in the championship, really.
And with a chance of rain this weekend, how are you feeling towards rain? Are you a wet weather rider or do you not like it?
Well, I'm sort of a dry and wet, but I know that this track's quite grippy usually in the wet, so I think I'm quite confident here in the wet.
And with it being the second time that we've went to Llandow this year, are you approaching the weekend slightly differently with you maybe not having to learn the track all over again?
Well, I've just got used to the bike again really, but I've been pushing a lot of my markers from last time round, so I think it's going to be better than last time.
Well, I wish you luck for this weekend, Sam. All the best.
Thank you.
So we're here in Llandow. It's the second time that we're at the circuit this year, and it's one that's going to bring up new challenges for riders because it's meant to be wet once again this weekend, and many of these riders actually haven't been able to adapt to this circuit in wet conditions. And actually, riders just come past right now. Jay, come here, have a little word, have a chat with us.
Hello.
So we're here at Llandow for the second time this year. How do you change your thinking going into the weekend of it being the second time in the same year that you're at the circuit?
Well, I've got to change it altogether because I'm with a new team this weekend, so it's completely new. But it's been a really good day today on the new bike. Hopefully it stays dry tomorrow so we can get a bit more time on the new bike.
And well, why don't you tell everyone at home, why have you got on the bike for this weekend, midway point for the season?
It just wasn't working with the side motor, unfortunately. I really appreciated the chance to give me a ride their bike, but I said I was well off my own personal best, let alone near the front. So luckily CW have all been at the top of the field recently, offered me a bike, so I took that opportunity and it's gone really well today on the first day.
And this season, it's been a season of quite a few up and downs, I think you can say yourself. How are you feeling physically and how is your injuries? Because you've had quite a few crashes this year.
Yeah, Clay Pigeon, we were still not perfect, but we got some good results on the moto team. And then last weekend at Wilton, the side moto just weren't playing ball. So we've now swapped to CW. I'm fully fit now. I wouldn't say fit as in running fit, but we're getting there. It feels good. So I'm looking forward to this weekend.
And you're racing in 2 classes this weekend. What is your main objective? Like, what's your main class that you're focusing on? Is it the motor team or is it the pit bikes?
Pit bikes is always my bread and butter, but we're leading the championship in the standard moto team at the moment, so we're going to try and increase that lead this weekend. But we want to get some good results in the pit bikes. It'd be nice to get back in the top 5 again, and I'd like to push in the podium. If it rains, I think we've got a chance.
Yeah, and of course you mentioned the rain. Are you looking forward to it if it starts pouring it down tomorrow here at Llandow?
Yeah, Llandow's very grippy in the wet, so I'm looking forward, if we do get some wet weather, that we can go pretty well in the wet. We have done previously here, so I'm hoping I can do it again.
Well, good luck this weekend. We all wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
That was Jay King, of course, Pit Bike Sonic on YouTube. Go check him out. But yeah, we're just walking through the paddock. It's quite a quiet paddock tonight. It's slightly windy, and I think everyone's just preparing themselves for the weekend, getting their mind into gear, really. So we're just going to speak to a few riders now. And hi, can we have a chat? Yeah? So, Cameron, so how are you feeling going into this weekend?
I'm feeling good. Can't get any worse than Wilton.
And why don't you tell me at home what happened at Wilton?
I just had everything that could go wrong go wrong. I got a new engine, excited for, and I spent the entire weekend bedding it in.
And so is it full attack mode this weekend after such a disappointing last round?
Yeah, I got 7th and 11th in the 2 practices in the 140. So I'm hoping, because we came here earlier in the year, and I got 7 6th. I'm trying to recreate that.
And is it a circuit you like then with the good results that you've had previously this year?
Yeah, I've been coming here a few years, so I know the track, probably my best track. It's a bit bumpy in some places, but they've tried to patch it and stuff, so it's a little bit slippy, but it's a little bit not as bumpy.
So have you, with your experience on this track, have you ever rode it in the wet before? Because I've heard from quite a few riders that they've never had this track in the wet.
Yeah. A few years ago now, 2016, I won here in the wet, and it's been maybe 2-3 years in the wet. Not too many, but you know, like earlier it was a little bit of a little sparkle of wet, but the track didn't change at all. So, I mean, not really, but yeah, quite a bit of experience.
So, with your experience in the wettest track, is it quite a grippy track in the wet, or is it similar to Wilton where it's very, very slippy?
I find it really grippy, but I do not trust. They've like patched the track with this like rubbery material. I do not trust that at all. Yeah.
So, do you think that will affect your confidence slightly if it starts raining this weekend with you knowing that them patches are there?
I want to say yeah, but then you go on a track walk and it feels fine. But then you just see it and it's like really shiny as well. So you just sort of look at it and it's in your mind, isn't it?
Well, I wish you luck for this weekend.
Thank you.
Well, that was Cameron Sewell racing in the pit bike class. There's quite a few pit bike riders around this side of the paddock right now, but it's quite a dark paddock at the moment. We're just waiting to try and find a couple more people to talk to, and we're going to speak to a couple more riders. Holly Harris, of course, racing in the British Talent Cup. Sorry, it's Holly, but how are you feeling going into this weekend?
Yeah, not bad. It's all right. Having a bit of fun today in practice, and hope to push on tomorrow.
And obviously you're racing the British Talent Cup. How's your season went so far racing with the FHO squad?
Yeah, I love being with FHO. They're really good. The support is amazing. The help that they do for me is really good, and it just gives me more confidence really for the year. Yeah, it's been a good year so far.
And the FHO squad, what's been the main thing that they've taught you this year and helped you with it obviously being such a supportive team?
It's just taken a lot of pressure off, and that's been a lot better to go out with like less pressure, not putting as much pressure on myself, and just being more relaxed about everything and know that I've got support behind me. So it's just, they've been really helpful to me.
And obviously here at FAB you're racing in the senior mini moto class, racing with a lot of older riders. How do you go towards that? How do you focus towards that, and having to race with a lot bigger and heavier riders?
I find it great. I get on well with all of the senior minis. All the people out there are really funny people and they're really good friends. So it is like riding with a bunch of good mates. Really, it's just enjoyable to be with everyone. They're all great.
So at FAB, is it just more fun, or is it just getting a bit more track time on a bike on a track and getting your mind up to speed?
It's a bit of both, really. It is good fun. It's just playing about in the minis, no pressure, no stress. It is great fun. Like, I have bike problems, but it's not so stressful. They're usually easier and cheaper fixes. But also it is good to get the track time and just be on any bike, because that's really helpful for even just the Moto3 being on a mini moto.
And have you got any aims going into this weekend, or is it just go out there and have fun?
Go out, have fun and try and get a podium, because I'm a bit down on points.
Well, good luck this weekend, Holly. I wish you all the best here at FAB and in British Talent Cup.
Thank you.
Well, that was Holly Harris, and we're going to keep walking about the paddock, try and find a couple more people. Spots of rain are actually dropping now, which seems to be signs of what's more to come this weekend. That is rain, so we're just trying to find a couple more riders to speak to in this paddock. And yeah, so we're just going to walk to this part. There's quite a few senior mini motor riders actually around here, so hopefully we can bump into one of them. Of course, FAB being a championship of people of all ages for us to be able to talk to. So, and now Reese Gentry actually racing in the senior mini moto class. Reese, second time here at Llandow this year. How are you feeling towards this?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel strong. Fifth, I think, best result was today. Feel good. Me and the old man. Mechanical issues out of the way, so hopefully smooth sailing the rest of the weekend will be ideal. Yeah, looking forward to it. To be fair, it's a good track. To be fair, nice rain on and off today, but hopefully for a dry race tomorrow in the afternoon and that. But yeah, looking forward to it. Feel good. Feel strong.
And obviously you're racing the senior mini moto class, and watching it, it's a class that is just crazy to watch. Just racing all the way down the field, and it's such hard racing. What's it like being on one of them bikes?
It's so hard to explain. You can't see what you're riding, but you can get so close behind someone that you wheel to wheel are touching. You got to get out there, try it, and just be on one. It's nothing like anything else. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But it's good crack. Everyone's friendly, like so. We always welcome everyone. But yeah, it's good racing. Really good racing. Really tight racing. But they'll see it on YouTube and that anyway. So he's banging. Yeah, we love it. Love it.
And have you got any aims for this weekend? Have you got any objectives? Maybe a podium, or is it just getting points at this stage?
I want to say podium, but whether or not I get it is a long shot. Good points would be nice. Top 5, I think, would be. I'll be happy. Top 5. Keep qualify top 5 and then finish on top 5. Yeah, good points. I think that'd be ideal. That's where I'm going to go for, top 5. So that's what I'm going to aim for anyway.
And with spots of rain actually right now in the paddock, are you wanting it to rain this weekend, or would you rather it stay dry? As you mentioned, you're hoping to get a dry race tomorrow.
Yeah. I want dry race, to be honest with you. Yeah, I want a dry race. If it's wet, it's wet, but I think dry. I think I prefer dry, to be honest with you. Yeah. I think wet would. I mean, wet makes it good show. I mean, it's completely random who's going to win it, who's going to become where. So it'll be good either way. I think it'll be tight. I think top 5 will be definitely top, really tight in that. But yeah, either way, I think it'll be good. I reckon. But me personally, dry.
And with you being such a tall rider on such a small bike, how difficult is it to get tucked in and get round the corners on these mini motos?
It's not too bad. Especially on the long straight and that, you got a bit of breather, so you can let your arms and legs breathe a little bit. It is tight, but you do the little tweaks to the bike to make it as comfortable as possible. But at the end of the day, it's still a tiny little bike, so it does take its toll after the weekend. You feel it on your joints and that, but at the end of it, it's all right. Yeah, it's not too bad. You can get around it.
And what sort of tweaks would you make on the mini moto to help a bigger rider?
So like on now, if you look around to our ones, or these ones here, you got like the double foot pegs, wider bars, seat unit you can kind of make longer or shorter. Anyway, like, you can make it to the picture the seat unit's higher, so you're more on the front end. There's all little things you can do, you know. It's all trial and error. Like me, I'm long arms, long legs, so for me, I like the Evo because it's longer for a bit more breather room and stuff, but other people like the GRCs or the Blatters. It's preference. You can just jump on one and off you go. There's nothing wrong in that, but as you progress, you'll find you'll want to do the little tweaks to get quicker, to get more comfortable. The more comfier you are, the more natural it'll feel, in a weird sense, being on a tiny kid's bike, but the quicker you'll be. So that's the art kind of thing, you know. Be comfortable, be quick. That's the key. That's what you try and aim for. But at the end of the day, it's toy bike racing. Do you know what I mean? Twist the throttle and off you go. That's it. So yeah, no, it's good fun. But yeah, little tweaks. They do help.
So with, as you mentioned, these are almost like toy bikes to you guys. Do you take it as serious, or is it just come here and have a laugh and have some fun with your mates?
It's just come here, have a laugh, crash, win, whatever. It's all a laugh. It's a kid's bike. It's like, you know, don't get me wrong, you know, we're all going quick, we're all trying out there, but at the same time, when you're coming in a paddock, you know, like beer o'clock now, and yeah, jokes and have a good meal and good crack and that. So it's a laugh, to be honest with you. There's no money to win. There's no trophy at the end of the year. Maybe if you win a race, another trophy, but it's nothing serious. We're not sponsored or nothing, so it's just turn up, pay your money, out you go. That's it, literally. So it's not serious, just a bit of fun. Like father and son. So we just come here. No brother, nah, father and son. So, but yeah, we just come here, we enjoy it. It's good bit of family time and that. So it's Wayne's here now, but yeah, no, all fun. Everyone, like all the other seniors and that, we're all here. Everyone's helping each other. You know, your bike's not working and that. everyone will crack on and get it running for the next session. It's not like, you know, hostility or anything. You know, get it done, get out there, have fun. That's it, literally. So yeah, it's good crack. So yeah, no, he's not serious at all, really. No.
Well, good luck for this weekend, Reece. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Take care. Thank you very much.
And well, rain's starting to fall on the paddock. It looks like it's going to be another wet weekend. Join us here at FAB and stay with us for the full weekend coverage. We have a total of 30 races coming up for you guys, so enjoy, and we'll see you in just a couple of seconds. Welcome to Llandow for the 6th round of the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. My name is Lewis Ray, and alongside me this weekend is Ross McIntyre. The sun is out once again. It's the Sunday. There's 20 races coming up in today's lineup. So we've already had 10 races this weekend, Ross, and what a great lineup. We had just a lot of action, a lot of drama, and surprisingly good conditions.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was looking like coming into this weekend it was going to be wet. Wasn't wet yesterday, quite clearly not very wet today, despite our beliefs. So we'll roll with the nice weather. It's not too bad outside, but yeah, lovely conditions yesterday. Looking to be the same today as well. And we just had some great racing all throughout the day in all the categories. And again, we've got 2 more races from each of the categories to look forward to today. The race 2s, the race 3s. We're just seeing the last of the morning warm-up sessions. The senior mini motos just coming to an end now, and the mini GP 70s just about to head out. And then after that, we are straight into the action with the Pit Bike 140s race 2. But we had some fantastic racing on display yesterday. My voice was a little bit hoarse after all of that. And, you know, it's the second time we're here at Llandow this year at the South Wales Karting Centre, just 20 miles to the west of Cardiff. And every time we come here, it always puts on a display. You know, the riders really love this track, and the bikes just, they just work here. You know, somehow this place just produces magic.
Yeah, it certainly does. Every single time we're here, as you say, it produces great racing. It's just one of those tracks that for whatever reason it attracts good racing. Most of these corners and some of these bikes are taken in 3rd, 4th gear, so it's quite a fast track for these riders, and it's so technical for them. But it's a track which has a corner, I would say, that suits everyone and that suits someone's riding style, which just lets them all bunch up. So by the end of the lap, by the start-finish line, they're all close together, and then we put on a great show. We seen yesterday in the last race of the day in the 70s, a lot of drama, even after the race finished, of course, with that red flag coming out due to the crash with Ronnie Harris, which it doesn't look like he's actually going to be out on the bike today, but it's a massive shame because of that. But the race was taken 1 lap previous because not everyone got across the checkered flag before the red flag came out, so it had to get taken back up, which means Henry McCartney actually won the race, even though Ethan Sparks technically won on track.
Yeah, it was a very confusing situation, of course. Ronnie Harris with quite a scary crash. We're seeing some dogs in the paddock there. But yeah, obviously it's great to hear that Ronnie is okay, but he won't be coming back out this weekend, which obviously not only a massive shame, but big championship implications as well, which I'm sure we'll come on to later. But so the red flag for the accident came out before the last 2 riders had finished the race. And as per the regulations, if a red flag comes out and not everybody who is still running has crossed the line and taken that checkered flag, then the race result is taken from a lap prior. So despite the fact that Ethan Sparks, who you're seeing on your screen now, crossed the line and won the race as he feels he did, and I know that the team feel like he did as well, the regulators say we've got to count back a lap, and 1 lap before, Henry McCartney crossed the line in first place in that titanic 3-way fight for the lead, with Luke Fitchett tagging on alongside them as well. So Henry McCartney was declared the winner, which was a little bit controversial among the 70s paddock. I know there's a few people quite unhappy with the decision. I'm sure the McCartneys were absolutely delighted with it. You know, it doesn't matter how they come, it just matters that they come, I suppose. So perhaps Ethan Sparks with a point to prove today. We know that he loves this track. Great memories here, of course, from last year at the final round, clinching his first championship in the 70s, and looking to take 2 in a row as the season gets on as well. And he obviously did very well here earlier in the season, and well, obviously won on the road, didn't win in reality, but still 2 races to look forward to today. and he's looking very, very fast, very, very comfortable on that Vision Track Academy bike. And, well, the championship leader and the reigning champion, as I said, a point to prove, but got fierce competition. Again, Henry McCartney obviously being declared the winner, and Luke Fitchett in that battle. Honestly, add a couple more laps into that, and any one of those three could have won that race yesterday.
Yeah, they certainly could have. Right now, we're just getting underway in the final warm-up session before we can get into the race twos for the weekend. But yeah, as you mentioned, Luke Fitchett, he was right on the back of that first two, and it looked like if there was a couple more laps, he would have been properly in there, being able to make moves and just defend for his life. But Luke Fitchett in the 50s also yesterday, so fast. Of course, there's no Marco Holt this weekend as he's in Spain doing the Moto4 Championship. He's doing well out there, and it's great seeing UK representatives heading over there and being fast straight away. So no Marco Holt, but in the 50s, it was still a great race. Luke Fitchett looked so strong. Archie O'Brien, it starting to get better. Even today, we should hopefully be able to see he starts to improve just slightly, because he's no longer dropping them 3 or 4 positions off the line. I was just speaking to Archie O'Brien this morning, actually, and he was saying that he's been testing the 70 this weekend on the Friday, and he's looking to hopefully race it next year, and they're hoping also to run the 50 next year, but nothing is decided just yet. So hopefully we can see the likes of Archie O'Brien in this 70 class that you're seeing right now in their final warm-up session. And even in their warm-up, actually, they are treating it almost like a race. It bunches up even in the warm-up session.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys, it's you know, this is the final stage of FAB Racing, of junior riding, before you go on to series like the British Talent Cup, which of course FAB Racing is responsible for over 60% of the riders on that grid. They've all come from this series, and this is this last step before you go on and, you know, really start to pursue your motorcycle career. Actually a bit of a crowd forming along the road down the Hanger Straight on the backstretch, so named after the old air base that used to be here, RAF Llandow, back in the Second World War. But yeah, you know, these guys, they get out there, and you know, they're so young, and these bikes are so fast, and it's just unbelievable what they produce. I mean, the racing yesterday was just phenomenal in all of the mini GP races. And of course, you know, don't forget the mini moto. Those young guys out there giving it a good go, and that's always entertaining. And of course, got that racing to look forward to. And the adult classes as well, they'll be up next. The Pit Bike 140 is, of course, the first class to look forward to. But, you know, the 70s was, you know, just the place to be. And of course, that, again, that massive three-way battle. And then, of course, the controversial ending with Ronnie Harris's accident and the very late red flag. And of course, it's a shame that Ronnie won't be back out today, but he's all okay, which is the main thing. But the bike is perhaps not, I think, is not quite okay as he is, shall we say. So, you know, the real question is what are we going to see today? Because I think everyone thought it was going to be raining today. You know, the weather forecasters, everyone went to bed last night. It was all saying tomorrow it's going to be wet all day. We've got here, and well, the sun is shining. There is not a single rain cloud in sight. So I think everyone's a little bit confused. So it might have thrown a few people off here. And, you know, you're looking at the guys who are really quick in the dry, and you're looking at the guys who maybe didn't qualify as well as they would have liked to have done. And wet is the opportunity to improve off of that, and suddenly it's not here. So a few people might be a bit disappointed to wake up and see a dry track. Yeah,
they certainly will be. And Henry McCartney, I don't think, will be too happy to see that dry track. He was hoping for some wet racing this weekend, but he did win in the dry yesterday, so he has to be feeling confident. But yeah, this warm-up session just has under 2 minutes to go in it. You've seen a couple of people at trackside, one of them being Luca Allen, who should have been actually racing this year and on a 600 in the British Superbike Paddock, but picked up a leg injury and had to get surgery on it. So Luca, I hope you're recovering well. And yeah, this session's just finishing now. It shouldn't be too long. And in race one, as you mentioned, great 70 race, great 50 race, and in the mini moto classes, we had Sebastian Gieslowski being able to take it to Taylor Tomlinson. We've seen him make a massive mistake, which we thought cost him that race win, but Sebastian Gieslowski put the hammer down and managed to retake that race lead and win the race in the finish-up.
Absolutely. Of course, you know, what's part of the joy of seeing the FAB Racing Rookies Cup and these young riders getting their first racing experience on a mini moto is you get to see them develop across the year. And Sebastian is a rider I've been really impressed with the development. Of course, you know, he was one of the front runners come the start of the year anyway, but it's been very incredible to see how far he's come since then. And of course, all his rivals around him and close friends, I'm sure, as well. Of course, a real family community here at FAB Racing. And he was just absolutely on it yesterday. He clearly loves this track. And I was speaking to the championship leader and the boy who finished second yesterday too, Gieslowski, Taylor Tomlinson, and he was just this morning. And Taylor was just like, you know, he's so light And around here, you know, the weight advantage of, because with the rookies, obviously many of them are different ages at different stages of their growth development. And so the weight advantage really does sometimes come into play. And he was saying, he's so light, I can't catch him round here. And I'm sure that Taylor Tomlinson is one of those riders who's a bit disappointed that it's not raining today. He loves it in the wet. And of course, you know, championship leader is clearly no slow coach, but in the wet, you know, he really puts on a display. And so I'm sure those two will be having, once again, a fierce battle out in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. Checkered flag is now out in the final warm-up session of the day, and I can hear some pit bike engines rumbling behind my commentary box. So we're getting ready to go racing here on Sunday, as we see some of the crowd watching along there, of course, as always. Many of the riders and the community here at FAB watching all of the races. And, well, actually down in the... It is the old pit lane. I believe there's a rather large crowd forming. And, well, what a better race to start off the day then with the Pit Bike 140s. An incredible race yesterday. We saw Taylor Lawrence in his final FAB Racing event before he goes off to join the RAF. And Rossi Banham having a great battle. Unfortunately, Taylor came down early onto the race, and Rossi just put on a display of utter dominance. If Taylor can stay on it today, maybe the reigning champion in Taylor and the reigning vice champion and championship leader in Rossi can have one last battle for the ages.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it. Rossi Banham looked so strong, and he just put lap after lap after lap and broke the lap record countless times yesterday in race 1. But he just made Taylor Tomlinson crack, and now Taylor Tomlinson in race 2 today is going to be wanting to mainly stay on that bike because he wants to have happy memories of his final round here at FAB. So I think obviously we're going to have a great race because it's the Pit Bike 140s. It was a bit... I would say it's a bit more gapped of a field than what we're used to seeing so far this season, but it's beautiful sunny conditions today. What better conditions for you to be racing? This is really the type of conditions where you get to see everyone's pure pace.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, the pit bike riders love it around here as well. A lot of chances to, you know, really utilise that pit bike ability and run wide and onto the grass and on the curbs. So I think we're going to be in for an absolutely fantastic one. Race 2 for the Pit Bike 140s, getting ready to get going. All of the riders forming in on the dummy grid as we just wait for the final checks to get underway before they get the go-ahead. Of course, coming off of that absolutely superb race 1, Taylor and Rossi at it like they were all season last year. The battles of old, long may they continue in Taylor Lawrence's final FAB Racing round before he goes off to join the RAF. But Rossi Banham, after Taylor goes down early on, just a display of dominance. And the question in anyone's mind, can anyone stop him for the remainder of this weekend? Can anyone stop him this season? He has been on fire.
Yeah, he certainly has. You can just see the lineup into his grid slot, getting ready to go out for what is going to be an excellent race too. It's a 19-bike field that we have this weekend in the Pit Bike 140s. It produces great racing. There's so much talent in this field, and it's great to see so many riders still taking part in this series and still taking part in every single round this year. Rossi Banham, of course, leading the championship. He's had such a dominant season as they head out now in the green flag lap. It'll be Rossi Banham on pole position with Lucas Brown alongside him. Taylor Lawrence's final FAB Racing weekend will be starting 3rd with Reese Peacock alongside him. Samuel Munson will be starting 5th, and Liam Wood rounds off 3rd row. Nathan Riggy will be starting 7th with Jamie King alongside him. Chris Wells 9th. Cameron So will be starting 10th after disastrous, Wilton Millie described it when speaking to her earlier on in the weekends. Zach Tureen will be starting 11th with Sean Whitaker alongside him. Elliot Crosby in 13th with Chadley Whiten in 14th alongside him. Simon Gates 15th with Thomas Dudson 16th. Johnny Brook will be starting 17th with Paul Noza will be starting 18th, and Keaton Payne will be rounding off our Pit Bike 140 grid. It should be an excellent race. You can just see now they're heading round to the grid to start this race and start the first race 2 of the day.
Yeah, as they come round, Rossi Banham looking cool and collected on this formation lap. Just bringing it in to that #1 grid slot nice and calmly. It's important to note that what we saw yesterday, that all of the grid slots on the right-hand side of the grid, that'll be the even numbers, actually got a better launch. So second place here, Lucas Brown, potentially could be having a look into turn 1, but Rossi and Taylor if anything's go by, it's their race to lose. Race 2 of the Pit Bike 140s. Here we go. Red lights on, red lights off. We're underway. Taylor Lawrence gets an absolutely storming start. Rossi Bannon will lean into turn 1. Lawrence following him, but that was a brilliant jump from third on the grid. Lucas Brown drops back onto that P3 podium spot. It's all clean through the hook on this opening lap, but Taylor Lawrence, that was brilliant away from the lights. Superb reaction, and he's already all over the back of Rossi Bannon. He wants to make up for that race 1 mistake. He wants to stay on. He wants to win here.
Yeah, he certainly does. Samuel Munson got up into 3rd place off the line, but it looks like Lucas Brown has managed just to slip through, dropping them back down to 4th. But up front, it's still Rossi Bannon in that race lead, and Taylor Lawrence, he looks like he's ready. He looks like he wants to win this race because he learned his mistake from yesterday, and that is do not let Rossi Bannon get into a rhythm. This is a 12-lap race, and it doesn't look like he's going to find any way past on this first lap. He's just sitting behind, maybe taking a little bit to learn, because now he heads round to start lap 2 of this race. Taylor Lawrence is looking for any way past this way, that way, with his bright, bright green levers. It's so easy to spot. But Taylor Lawrence now trying to line up and move everywhere he can, but he has to back out of it because Rossi Bannon is taking the inside line. He's defending. He's doing it pinpoint perfect. This is exactly what we've seen from Rossi Bannon, but now Taylor Lawrence having a little look up the inside there, but Rossi Bannon closing the door, making sure he cannot get past Taylor Lawrence. Now you can just see completely different mentality from yesterday.
Oh, I'm going to miss this. I'm going to miss Taylor Lawrence and Rossi Bannon fighting. 2 of the bestest of friends off of the track, but 2 of the greatest of rivals on it in this 140 class. And there is nothing to separate them as they head down the hanger straight. Lawrence doesn't even try to look this time. Further back, trying to go for the move there. That's Lucas Brown having to go on the defensive. He's dropped off of the podium now. I think that was Liam Wood who's having a look there. But it's still Bannon from Lawrence at the front. P3 is, in fact, that's Samuel Munson now. So Lucas Brown early struggles in this race too, and look at the gap. The front 2 have already pulled on Samuel Munson there, who's on the defensive, trying to move forward. He's got Lucas Brown for company. Of course, we know Lucas is a superb rider. There's actually behind them, I think that was Liam Wood to the inside of Lucas Brown, and yes, it was. So there it goes. It was Reese Peacock, apologies. So Reese Peacock now back up to P4. The man who seemingly wins more races at the last corner on the final lap than anybody else. Here we go. Lawrence had a little look to the inside, a little bit too far back still, but again, 9 laps to go at the line this time by. Plenty of time. Just let the battle commence.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it, and Samuel Munson now is under a lot of pressure as Reese Peacock manages to get past Lucas Brown.
Oh,
and
Lawrence again!
Down at the exact same corner as race 1, so Taylor Lawrence not learning the mistake from yesterday, and once again pushing too hard. Rossi Bannon was broken once again, so Taylor Lawrence, it's been a disastrous race so far, but he can still pick off points. He's still in point scoring positions as Samuel Munson now is starting having to defend from Reese Peacock as Reese Peacock looks down the inside, but it doesn't look like he can get to work because Samuel Munson blocks the line, blocks it. He's so defensive. Samuel Munson has such a busy weekend this weekend because he's racing the 70s, which is just before this class. But inside line there from Samuel Munson, so Taylor Lawrence just behind this pack is looking to try and catch up to them because these guys are squabbling, these guys are fighting, and these guys are slowing each other down. As Rossi Bannon now has over a 3-second lead with 8 laps to go, but Reese Peacock now looking down the inside of Samuel Munson, but once again having to back out of it. Samuel Munson, he's so quick on the pit by 140. It's 2 completely different style bikes that he's racing, but yet he can adapt it just straight away. As Reese Peacock now is diving down the inside, going past on the brakes, but Samuel Munson braking slightly later there. But Reese Peacock looking for any way behind, because Lucas Brown is just behind him, so he has to go on the attack straight away with just 8 laps to go.
It's a tough move to the inside of the right-hander at Chalmers there. You can pull it off if you're feeling strong, and well, he gave it a look, but it's tight around there, very bumpy, very rough, so have to wait and see. And oh, what a shame for Taylor. I just cannot believe what I'm seeing. Same corner, same problem. Luckily this time he's not dropped too far back, as we see Jamie King running in 5th. That's pretty strong for him, of course, on the new bike this weekend after parting ways with that factory Saimoto team. And looking to improve his fortunes. The 3-time champion hasn't been enjoying the best of luck in FAB-Racing this season, unfortunately. Despite being the reigning Moto team champion, pit bikes just haven't quite gone his way. but looking for a fresh start and looking to try and move back up and be with the front runners, which he's just been on the tail of for the majority of this season. Rossi Banham's done what he's done yesterday and absolutely checked out, banging in the fastest laps. We're a little bit off of his lap record, which he set yesterday, about a 10th off. But it is still early in the morning, so track conditions perhaps not at their optimum as once again down into turn 1. A look from Reese Peacock. But we'll have to see. And of course, got to remember these pit bike guys. They're all good friends. They all like a night out. Out in Barry last night, we've seen. Had a few of them visiting the Gavin Estate House, as we did, which was a great highlight of the evening. So some of them maybe not feeling the best that they felt out on the racetrack, but we'll have to take that with a pinch of salt. But Reese Peacock is pushing Samuel Monson. He's pushing him hard. Lucas Brown on the back, just being patient. I think he's not pushing too hard, just holding onto the back. There's still 6 laps left to go. There's no point of trying to risk a move, as that I think I just saw there was Taylor Lawrence already up into P6.
Yeah, Taylor Lawrence making up positions every single lap. He's just putting in times, being consistent. And there's Lucas Brown and Reese Peacock are down at the final corner, on the exit of the final corner. Both of them up on their feet and both of them trying to get underway. It looks like there's a bit of confusion, maybe a bit of blame going to each other there, but they're both back on the bike. Reese Peacock's just trying to get started, trying to
struggling there, isn't he?
He's got it started again though. 5 laps to go in this race. Now that's going to be even more positions for Taylor Lawrence. Taylor Lawrence is up into 3rd now. Jamie King's up into 4th. Rossi Banham still in the race lead. So right now our podium is Rossi Banham, Samuel Munson, and Taylor Lawrence, with Jamie King sitting in 4th position. So that has completely changed up this race, completely changed up these positions. Rossi Banham backs it into that final corner. He has so much confidence. Best lap of 49.2. That's such a good lap time. It's practically lap record pace if he didn't smash it yesterday into the 48. So fast from these guys as Samuel Munson comes across the line, managing just to make it out of that scrap that the other 2 riders went down in. So there they are there. Lucas Brown coming for your picture, going through the final corner, number 95 in a battle right now. Charlie Whiten having a battle further down the field for that 8th position.
Yeah, so Taylor Lawrence already onto the podium, so his race is running a little bit better than it did yesterday. He managed to get on the bike a bit quicker, it would seem, but Rossi Banham once again just flying out there in the front. I mean, again, Rossi coming into that final corner is just so impressive. He's one of the riders where if you stand at the trackside and just watch go around, he immediately catch right. Not obviously from the bright yellow helmet and the leathers, which are very obvious who he is, and you know the knowledge, of course, that he's a junior superstock rider off in BSB, so he clearly isn't too shabby on the bike. But you know, he's just so brilliant. Again, that junior superstock experience that he's now bringing with him, you can see a visual improvement out on track. You can just see what he's doing differently to last year, and he's just so much quicker. You see moves being made into the final corner. Reese Peacock diving down the inside of that Harriet Crosby, I believe that he's just gone through. Yes, it is. So Peacock trying to carve his way back through with 3 laps left to go. He's got a tall order if he wants to make it into that top 10. But Rossi Banham just on the brakes is so strong. And it's just such a joy to watch. I mean, he's such a nice guy as well. I mean, all of these pit bike guys are, but Rossi's he's such an exceptional talent on the motorcycle. Such a lovely bloke off the track. And it really is a joy to watch him go around.
Yeah, it certainly is. Of course, racing in that Junior Superstock Championship, which the bikes really do like a back brake getting used. We've seen the likes of Rory Skinner be able to really use the rear brake. So maybe that's just helped him in this Pit Bike 140 class and brought on his skill and brought on his riding style. It's a very aggressive riding style as he goes over the exit curbs there, bouncing through it. But Rossi Banham almost elbow to the ground on these Pit Bike 140s, and he's just in a different class at the moment. And Taylor Lawrence is down once again. So 2 crashes in race 2. Race 1 had 1 crash, race 2 had 2 crashes. So hopefully race 3 will be far better for him as Rossi Banham now comes round the final corner to see the last lap flag. He'll start the last lap. He'll be feeling confident. Back markers are in his way by the end of this lap, but he will not care. He is winning by a far bigger margin that I was expecting going into this race. Samuel Munson just crosses the line now by 13.1 seconds behind Rossi Banham as Rossi Banham gets past some lap traffic like there's no tomorrow.
but the fastest lap was, of course, set by Rossi Banham with a 49.1. Slightly off yesterday's pace, 2 tenths off yesterday's lap record pace, but he's looking so good, so strong, and so much commitment on his bike. Coming through the final section now. 1 more corner to go after this back straight. He's getting tucked in, as tucked in as you can possibly get on these pit bike 140s. He comes around the final corner, backs it into the final corner, runs slightly wide, but he will not care. He is the race winner for race 2. It's Rossi Banham. Who else? A domination once again in race 2. First race of the day, elbow down to celebrate. He was absolutely delighted with that. Battles further down the field right now. Taylor Lawrence in the back of your picture, but there we have a move going on for the 34 bike. Going for the final corner. Jamie King looks like he missed the gear almost coming out of that final corner. So across the line he goes, drops a couple of positions. Actually, no, he stays in 4th position. So Jamie King can't be too disappointed with that. Still a great,
Dropping off
great
the podium,
result.
though. That's not ideal. Unfortunately, Liam Wood just squeezing by 6 tenths, separating them at the line as the rest of the riders bring it home at the end of race 2. Of course, they'll be back out later for their final race of the weekend, but once again, just a belter from Banham. Fantastic stuff. He takes another dominant victory here in the Pit Bike 140s, winning by 14.2 seconds, with Samuel Munson following him behind. Liam Wood just sneaking onto the podium. Jamie King is going to be disappointed with that 4th place. He was running very, very strongly. Chris Wells managed to bring it home in P5 with Nathan Riggy in 6th. Taylor Lawrence managed to get it back up to 7th after that second fall. Of course, we've all got our fingers crossed that his final race later goes okay, with Lucas Brown, Reese Peacock and Zach Torian rounding out your top 10. That concludes the second race of the Pit Bike 140s. Once again, a brilliant race, as it always is with these Pit Bike guys. They're just ferocious out on track. And do not be afraid. They will be back out for their race 3s a little bit later on. Hello, if you are just joining us here at the South Wales Karting Centre in Llandow, just 20 miles to the west of Cardiff. You're joining us for the Sunday of round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. It's a glorious day. The winds are a little bit higher than we'd like, but at least it's not raining as we all thought it would. And it is a pleasure to bring you all of the action on the FAB-Racing and Motorsport Radio channels.
Coming up next, we will have race 2 of the AC40 Pro class. It was a very, very interesting race 1. And once again, we've seen quite a lot of drama in this class. Lewis Hull, once again, struggling with that straight line speed. Sam Gardner had, well, an eventful yesterday in the LC40 class and in the AC40 Pro race, because he's had some bike issues this weekend, not being able to get the bike started actually in the warm-up lap. But we're expecting great racing once again today. So much talent in this field. Byron Johnson, Sam Gardner, Harrison Day, Matthew Thomas, just to name a few.
Yeah, Byron Johnson, of course, sitting on that pole position spot, the dominant force this season in the AC40 Pros. But, you know, he's winning by, frankly, what I consider to be too big of a margin when you look at how good everyone else is. He's really got on top of this Mini Moto Championship. It will be Byron Johnson going off of grid slot 1 with Sam Garner alongside him. Matthew Thomas is P3 with Harrison Day starting P4. Oliver Hall and Lewis Hull, they make the 3rd row of the grid, with Jensen Bishop in 7th and Dylan Torian in 8th. Callum Maxwell and George Ackerman round up the top 10, and Chloe Sewell is 11th on the grid. That is what we've got on show here at Llandow. The second time we're visiting this season, of course, for the AC40 Pros, who always like to put on a bit of a display. It's one of those classes, of course, where, you know, the racing starts to get serious for these young riders. It's the second step into mini motos here at FAB-Racing after the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. It's the first time, you know, when it's not just about getting on the bike, getting that racing experience. Now you've got to learn the fundamentals of motorcycle racing. Now you've got to, you know, develop your knowledge of bikes, tracks, and just so much more. And of course, Byron Johnson dominating basically the season so far, but will he do it again today? That's the real question. He's got some stiff competition out there, and you know, when you're looking down at the grid, it's you know, pretty strong.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Byron Johnson will, of course, be starting in that pole position next to Sam Gardner. We're expecting Byron Johnson just to try and get out of the gate straight away and get into that rhythm. But we've seen so far this year, Harrison Day's starts have been so impressive. So now we're just waiting for Rob, the start marshal, to point to our lights, and then we're going to get underway for race 2 of the AC40 Pros, and we wait for the lights to go on. Lights are off. It was a very, very fast changeover as Byron Johnson is taking the lead, going to turn 1 with Sam Gardner just behind. Harrison Day has been a great start once again, up into that 3rd position, made a couple of positions off the start, and further down the order, Dylan Tureen, pretty good start from him, chasing Jensen Bishop off the line, but Byron Johnson out of the lead straight away. The real question is now, will he get in the rhythm, or will Sam Gardner and Harrison Day, as Matthew Thomas now actually wants to make a pass on Harrison Day, but will these guys be able to catch up to him and disrupt his rhythm? We're just going to have to wait and find out. Coy's still there going for your pictures. Byron Johnson comes through the back chicane. Over half the lap is already done. These guys only have an 8-lap race, so it's so fast, it's so quick, so you really have to make moves straight away.
Of course, racing isn't finished and isn't won on the first lap, but it can certainly be lost. You can certainly lose out big time. Harrison Day is managing to hold on to that 3rd place from Matthew Thomas for the time being. Challenging though to the inside, maybe no. Decides against it on the run into turn 1 at the hook. But of course, you know, it's these races are they seem really, really short. Llandow, it's not a particularly long lap, and of course, for the younger riders, FAB Racing tends to keep the races a little bit shorter. Just, you know, they're so young, they get tired, don't they? You know, they need their plentiful rest. But these races just seem to fly by over here. Matthew Thomas trying once again the same move. He tried a lap ago up the inside into Chandler's. This would be superb if he pulls it off. No. Harrison Day slams the door on the way in. That is a tough, tough move to pull off. So kudos to Matthew Thomas for giving it a go on lap 2. And as I was saying, you know, you can't win a race on the first lap, but you can certainly lose it. And when the races are this short, you know, you really, really need to make moves. And of course, part of this AC40 Pros class is about learning when to go for moves. It's about learning how to set moves up and how, you know, you can be making an overtake about half a lap before you actually do it. As once again, Matthew Thomas to the inside on Harrison Day. This time, he gets it done into the hook with 6 laps to go. Very, very clean move. Just a little bit late on the brakes, sweeps the bike to the inside. That's perfect.
Yeah, it certainly is. Just as you were talking about these riders setting up moves, Matthew Thomas set up a move. Coming out of the final corner, he just got a better drive to get a later apex, just managed to get that drive and past Harrison Day. And now it looks like he's already bridged the gap from Harrison Day. A 4-second gap up front to Sam Gardner, but Matthew Thomas can do this. He just needs to use his head and keep calm. But up front, Byron Johnson has the fastest lap of the race. The only person in the 53s at the moment, 1.6 seconds off. Well, 1.6 seconds back is Sam Gardner, getting as tucked in as possible. Further down the field, Oliver Hall is in a battle with Lewis Hull with Jensen Bishop just behind these guys. So a battle all the way down the field, really. Anywhere you look in this class, there's a battle going on, or there's someone trying to catch up. So right now, this battle's going on, and there is Oliver Hall chasing Harrison Day. And Harrison Day, he's looked strong all season. I mean, he's been for quite a lot here at Llandow, actually, I believe, at round 2 on the Friday. He had that crash and broke his arm, I believe. So Harrison Day, he's back at this circuit, and he's looking so confident.
And of course, a few weeks after that, as well, his dad Josh over at BSB had quite a nasty accident, got put into a coma for a little while. Luckily, of course, back on his feet, and he was at the very next FAB round after that one, wasn't he? So it's of course great to see Josh back. But the Day family's had it a bit rough this year, haven't they? But it's great to see Harrison back out on the bike. It's great to see Josh, of course, here in the paddock as well, helping his boy out. And it is fantastic. And Harrison Day, you know, he races tough, he races hard, and he is very, very fast as well. There we can see last year's FAB Racing Rookies champion, Oliver Hall, trying to challenge Harrison Day. That being said, Oliver, it's been a bit of a tough transition for him into the pros. He pretty much dominated the rookies last season, but I think the jump was just a little bit bigger than they were expecting. But he's been developing well through this season. Back at Llandow for the second time. A track, of course, good memories of him when he won that FAB Racing Rookies Cup last year here. Llandow was the last round of the season in 2021, and he's looking to challenge and get a good result here today. I know how much that would mean for him, for his family, for his confidence as well. And there you go, looking to the inside into Chandler's. No, Harrison Day gets a better drive out of the corner and shuts the door once again. So interesting to see. And Oliver Hall now actually maybe under attack from Lewis Hull because he's lost that momentum.
Yeah, Oliver Hall is just having to start thinking about defending maybe, because Lewis Hull now is under threat from Jensen Bishop. So these two, they're going to push each other on and push each other into a 4-bike scrap for this final podium, well, for this 4th place position, because Matthew Thomas in all this has ran away with that 3rd place. So Matthew Thomas, it's all up to him, and now he just needs to use his head. He's catched up to Sam Gardner very slowly, but There's still 3 laps to go in this race. It's a 2.3-second gap between Sam Gardner and Matthew Thomas as this battle is still going on. Lewis Hull, we've talked about many times in the past couple of rounds, and that is a straight line deficit and how hard he is pushing the bike through the corners. You know it's bad when you can visibly see it. You can visibly see the bike chattering away and wanting to tuck the front. So it's so impressive that he's still being able to put in these lap times and put in the performances that he has. As this guy right here, Byron Johnson, has put in a great performance all weekend and all season, actually. Currently 3 laps to go. He comes across the line to make it 2 laps, and headed into this weekend, he had a massive point gap. He had 110 points back to Sam Gardner, but of course this man has the fastest lap as well, a 53.6 is his fastest lap, and there's confirmation of his fastest lap. He is in a different postcode right now, really, from anyone else, because the gap is 6.5 seconds to Sam Gardner.
Yep, clearly loving the South of Wales is Byron Johnson as he heads down to the back end of the circuit. Just another brilliant, brilliant ride from him, as we've been seeing all season long. And it's, you know, sometimes, you know, he faces a challenge and he has to fight for it, but then sometimes he is just, as you said, in a different league. And, you know, he's himself and, of course, his brother as well, Austin. They're both so, so talented. And it's, you know, it really is a joy to just stand and watch them go round as they'll be coming on to the final lap now. Such is the lead of Byron Johnson, because this battle behind them has only just gone onto the hanger straight back there. And there we can see Oliver Hall still challenging Harrison Day. Lewis Hull has dropped back quite significantly, actually, so maybe a mistake or a problem there for the largest rider on the grid. I think it's safe to say he looks tall on the bike. Trust me, he's even taller in person. No idea how he fits on these things, but he's out there giving it a go. Oh, front end just wobbling a little bit there from Harrison Day. He's really pushing, and Oliver Hall is on the attack as we go on to the final lap now, coming through the opening sector. And as they come through now, that'll be Matt Werters there sweeping through. Hall still on the attack, looking to the inside to Chalmers once again. Day gets a good drive out of Matt Werters though, so I think he's going to be okay. Yes, he is. There is the race leader once again in his own league. Byron Johnson wins race 2 of the AC40 Pros with another fantastic performance. No one else in sight. Sam Garner will bring it home to P2. Can Oliver Hall try and challenge for P4 as Matthew Thomas takes P3? No. So it'll be Harrison Day who finishes in P4. Oliver Hall will take the P5. I'm sure he'll be disappointed with that, knowing how close 4th was, but it was a good result nonetheless. But Byron Johnson, once again, on top.
Yeah, Byron Johnson wins with Sam Gardner and Matthew Thomas rounding off that podium. Matthew Thomas, he was in a hard fight at the start of the race and just managed to edge away further and further. It's the battle heading on further down the field between George Ackerman and Cal Maxwell. Cal Maxwell now trying just to make a move at the final corner with George Ackerman, but George Ackerman holding him off and taking the checker flag to get that 9th position. But there is your winner. There is the 2nd race win for him. Byron Johnson wins race 2 of the AC40 Pro class in a dominant fashion. And once again, it's so impressive because he won by 9 seconds this time round from Sam Gardner and Matthew Thomas rounding off that podium. Harrison Day comes home in 4th with Oliver Hall, Lewis Hull and Jensen Bishop in that 4-way scrap for that 4th position. Dylan Tureen comes home in 8th with George Ackerman 9th, Cal Maxwell 10th, and Coisel rounds off our grid. So great race once again. Race 2. It was exactly what we expected from the AC40 Pros. A lot of young talent in that class, and it's really the middle class of the mini-motos. So another race coming up later today, and now Byron Johnson is going to want to do it again.
Race 2 for the Extreme 200s about to head out onto the grid. And, well, we had a fantastic race, one with a huge 4-way fight for the lead in race 1. And, well, I'm sure we're going to have even more exciting action this time round. As you can see there, the 2 riders starting in P2 and P4 at the front there. Sullivan Mounds, who I thought actually wasn't going to be going around because he had a bit of an accident in warm-up when he was walking past our international broadcast centre, complaining and mumbling something to his dad about it being broken, and his dad didn't look too impressed. But he's on there on the bike, on the Frankenstein Moto 4, as I like to refer to it as. You see some of the marshals watching along. Of course, a big thank you to them and the medics and all of the people doing a great job this weekend, allowing to make this round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship possible. And of course, to all the crowd watching along, all the families here at FAB-Racing, allowing everyone to go racing. It is a real privilege to come and watch these events, to come and see some fantastic racing action. And we thank all of you so much as the riders get onto the grid, preparing for their formation lap. Not seeing Jamie King again. He was late last time, looks to be late again, but we'll get going on the formation lap. Anyway, Evan Belford goes off the pole position. The British Talent Cup rider Philip Sorowiak alongside him. Rossi Banham starts in P3. Sullivan Mounty starts in 4th. Nolan Guillory will be 5th. Zach Turin 6th. Jack Andrews is going off 7th, but he's just come past the commentary box, and you'll be seeing just in a moment, and that engine was not sounding too healthy, so maybe not starting in 7th. And Jamie King, once again, is nowhere to be seen. So maybe he'll pull up on the last minute and start from the back like he did last time. Maybe he won't. We'll have to wait and see, but that's going to be your grid for the Extreme T100s. Don't be alarmed, but well, actually, I've just seen Jamie King outside, and he's walking back to his tent, so I don't think we'll be seeing Jamie King because he's not even got his helmet or his bike on. So no Jamie King this time, but it may be quite a small grid here in the Extreme 200s, much smaller than we're used to, but we've got a very strong grid full of British Talent Cup riders who have come back to FAB, and a few extras as well, of course, who are hoping to be there in the future, I'm sure. And again, these guys in race 1 put on a fantastic race.
Yeah, he certainly did, and it's going to be Philip Sorowiak who's going to try and get another race win in the books here at Llandow. But it was a great race one. It's not a big field, but it's close racing. The flag marshal's off, Rob is off. We wait for the lights, and the lights are on now, and the lights are off, and we are racing. It's Evan Belford who makes a good start, but Philip Sorowiak gets the race lead into turn 1, and Philip Sorowiak leads the way from Evan Belford, and it looks like Sullivan Mounty in that 3rd position. He was slightly further back yesterday, so he's really going to want to try and make up some time today. Rossi Banham sitting in that 4th place, looking to be on the attack of Sullivan Mounty. Sullivan Mounty, as you mentioned, had that crash and warm-up. It looked like it was maybe just a footrest that was broken, maybe a gear linkage that was broken as well, so he couldn't shift any gears, but it looks like it's fixed now, and he's definitely on the pace with these front guys. Philip Sorowiak leads the way. It's what we're normally used to seeing, and now the real question is, what can Evan Belford do? Will he sit there and learn, or will he just go full attack mode?
Bit of a glance back there from Philip Sorowiak, of course, doing exactly the same thing. He did yesterday. Sullivan Mounty down. Rossi Banham. I think they've made contact after Banham runs out wide. A bit of a gesture from Sullivan Mounty. Disappointed, maybe trying to shift the blame game. Didn't quite see what happened, but I presume, from what I've seen, that with Rossi Banham goes for a move, and Mounty didn't see him, and that bike, once again, it's been through the woes and trying to get it started. Can he get it started? I'm not sure. Oh, he's really desperate. And that's the new bike rebuilt after Wilton Mill. And that is not going anywhere, I don't think. Oh, what a shame for Sullivan Mounty. The British Talent Cup start. The last few weekends of FAB really haven't gone his way, unfortunately. But there we see the leaders back onto the backstretch and going past Mounty. Belford can't pass there. Yellow flags are out. So he'd have to give the position back. But Sorowiak, as I was saying, doing exactly the same as he did in race 1. Just getting a great launch off of P2, sliding up the inside to turn 1. Now he's just got to hold on. Mounty confirmed now DNF. He's walking back to the pit lane. A huge shame for him. Belford giving it a good go. Banham's dropped back as well. Guillory now in P3. He was lingering on the back of this fight until these two seemingly activated the warp drive and have just gone off on their own. Sorowiak against Belford. This is a fight that we're used to seeing maybe another series, a bit above and beyond us here in FAB-Racing, but they've brought it back and they've brought it here to the South Wales Karting Centre, and we are loving it. Onto the backstretch once again. Belford looks a little bit closer. No, not quite close enough this time, but he does poke a nose to the inside, just trying to let Sorowiak know he's there. Sorowiak didn't look back this time. He did have a brief glance back in the first lap. just trying to stay focused ahead, doesn't want to look back, doesn't want to put that pressure on himself.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't. Noah Gilroy is up into that third position and ahead of Rossi Banham. So a great ride from Noah Gilroy, but Evan Belford, he looks so strong on the brakes, especially at the final corner. It looks like that is going to be the place that he's going to try and line up a move, it seems. Philip Soroviak in the race lead still, but Evan Belford dives down the inside and Philip Soroviak slams the door on his front wheel and makes sure that he cannot make that move and get into that first position. So there's the battle for that third place. Noah Gilroy defending his life from Rossi Banham. Noah Gilroy, of course, on that mini GP70 as we head down to the final corner now. Further back this time from Evan Belford, so he just has to use his head for one more lap, try and close that gap. What is the gap this time round? 5/10 of a second. Philip Soroviak sits the fastest lap of the race with a 48 flat. So an impressive lap time from him straight away. And Rossi Banham now is defending from this man here, Noah Gilroy. Noah Gilroy, there's nothing between the two. They're on two completely different style of bikes as Rossi Banham dives down the inside. Can he make it stick? And yes, he can. Can Noah Gilroy do anything to stop him? Noah Gilroy, this is his class. Although he races in the 70s, this is where he puts all his concentration into, as Rossi Banham tells him to tag onto the back of him, tells him to follow him. But this is racing, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, Rossi Banham, again, as we're seeing, just absolutely flying along. But again, a good display there. Noah Gilroy trying to get him to tag along, saying, follow me. As it looks like Sullivan Moundsey's come back out now, so bike fixed, but he's obviously a few laps down. So, but still going to pick up the points, which is strong at least. So great to see Sully back out on track. And Noah Gilroy actually is still holding on to the back of Rossi Banham. So Rossi's going, you know, I'm quick around here. Come on, follow me. Learn from me. And yet, can confirm for you that Sullivan Moundsey is back out. I've just seen him outside of our commentary box window. And yeah, that's just great season. Great sportsmanship from Rossi Banham. Obviously overtaking Gilroy, just the faster rider on a different style of bike. But we see him just going, you know, follow me. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll show you how I'm so quick around here. And you can learn a thing or two and learn from me. Noah Gilroy, of course, looking to go up into the British Talent Cup, hopefully in a few years' time, like many of our riders do here at FAB. Of course, Rossi Banham did once, now off to junior super stock at BSB. And, well, many of the other riders on this field as well. Soroviak, Belford, of course, British Talent Cup stars. Current fastest lap belonging to Evan Belford of 47.565, but still stuck behind the 75 of Philip Soroviak, who's doing a great defensive job so far. Belford is so close. You couldn't fit a sheet of paper between them, but Soroviak holds on for the time being.
Yeah, he certainly does. Evan Belford, though, he's putting down the hammer. It's hammer time for him, and now he's bridged up that gap to Philip Soroviak, and now Philip Soroviak, he'll be able to hear that bike just behind him. Slightly different revs will be here, and then maybe a bit more nerves coming into him as we head down the back straight now. This is where Evan Belford looks strong on the brakes. Philip Soroviak knows that he's there, though, so he sticks out his leg doing the doctor's dangle, making his bike a bit wider and trying to get it stopped a bit quicker as Philip Soroviak comes across the line, makes it 5 laps to go, and now Evan Belford, he's starting to run out of time. Is he just sitting there and waiting, knowing where he can actually make that move for the final couple of laps, or is it just genuinely that he doesn't have the pace as now he tries to make the move, but he has to back out of it? It's so tricky. It's 2 lines going to one at that corner, so it's so rare that we actually see it overtake. But now Evan Belford, he wants to make that move. He's showing a front wheel to Philip Soroviak. We've seen quite a few moves this round actually at this back corner, and it's not normal that you see a move there. It's so tricky. It's so bumpy as Evan Belford now tries and carries that momentum onto the back straight once again and towards the final corner, towards the hard braking zone, as now he looks a bit too far back once again. Takes a slightly wider line, tries and just get a bit more momentum onto start-finish line, but we're going on to 4 laps to go. Evan Belford can't do anything just yet.
I just love the Extreme 200. It's such a brilliant class. I mean, it's known as the open pit bike class in the FAB Paddock. It's basically just, if you've graduated from FAB and you've gone on to other things, just come back and whack around and see what you can do. I mean, last season, Red Bull rookie star Keisha Gorman came back for 2 rounds and missed out on the championship by 8 points. He was there for 2 rounds. It's just the craziest thing. I mean, riders just come and go, and it's just chaos in the championship. And we get great racing like we're seeing here between Soroviak and Evan Belford. Belford trying to get that run, backing it off a little bit into the corner onto the hanger straight to get a better acceleration, but Soroviak again just a little bit too far in front. Belford is starting to pick up, I think, where Soroviak is maybe a little bit weaker and where he can try and make the move, but he's only got 3 laps left to do it. He needs to hone in and he needs to get the move done quickly, because if it's going to be a last lap dive bomb, I don't think Soroviak's going to be too open to letting him through, shall we say. That makes sense. Soroviak a little bit wide through the left-hander, potentially opens the door, but no, slams it shut once again on the entrance to Matt Weerters. Coming down to Chalmers now, a very, very tricky corner. We've seen Belford having a look through here a couple of times. Saw a few moves there yesterday, actually. Probably the hardest corner to overtake at on the track, and it's so impressive when you pull it off, but no move this time, I assume. Once again, as he backs it off, coming onto the back straight, yes, he's going to try once again into the final corner. Is he close enough? No. 2 laps to go at the line this time by. It's still Soroviak that leads as Belford goes a little bit deep into the final hairpin, and that potentially could be it unless he can catch back up to Soroviak. It is so tight. Well, I've just been proven wrong. He's already on the tail of him again.
Yeah, he's straight away. He's making maybe slight mistakes because these guys are pushing each other to the limits. They're both so impressive, and that's why they race in the British Talent Cup, because they're such fast riders. And these guys putting on this display is just going to make more riders want to come to race in this Extreme 200 class. But these guys' riding styles are two completely different. Philip Soroviak, it's far more aggressive. It's a lot more modern, I guess you could say. While Evan Belford, he keeps his upper body far more centralised on the motorcycle, but they still make it work, and they still somehow produce this close racing, even though it's two completely different styles of riding the bike. You can just see coming through here, Evan Belford, he's quite upright with the centre of his body, but he still puts in lap time as we head on to the final lap of the race. It's Philip Soroviak who leads by just 0.4 of a second over Evan Belford. Evan Belford has one more time round to be able to try and make a move, and Philip Soroviak has one more time round to clinch another race when around this Llandow circuit. It looked so strong when we came here for a race round 2 at the start of the year, but Evan Belford now, he's looking to line up a move at the end of this lap. It's going to be a dramatic finish to this race 2 of the Extreme 200 class. Evan Belford going for this final chicane before we head on to the back straight, carrying all the momentum.
Oh, he's close.
He's looked so good on the
before.
Brakes at this final corner. Now Evan Belford, he's looking to line up a move, and he dives down the inside. It's a late move, and now he has the race lead.
Soroviak.
But Soroviak has the drive at the final corner, but cannot make it work. Soroviak drops down to that second position. Evan Belford takes the race lead. A dramatic last lap finish, and Evan Belford, he looked so strong at that last corner all race, and he just timed it perfectly. He didn't really show a hand until he had to.
Oh, with the block pass. That is brilliant from Evan Belford. Just keep it out wide. Don't let Soroviak back inside. Soroviak, if Belford had run tighter, run the proper racing line, I have no doubt Soroviak would have got the drive off of that corner, and it would have been a lot closer at the line than it was. But Evan Belford just hangs it out wide. Soroviak can't see it in. Brilliant, simple racing tactics on the final corner to take the victory in race 2 of the Extreme 200 here at Llandow. Oh, that was just brilliant, wasn't it? Soroviak probably going to be a bit disappointed with that one, but I'm sure under his helmet he's smiling really, because he knows that was a fantastic battle, and both of these riders have put on such a display. It is Evan Belford, as you see him pulling into the pits there, who takes race 2 at the final corner from Philip Soroviak. Rossi Banner manages to fight up into P3 and rounds off the podium. Noah Guillory didn't finish too far behind in P4, with Rossi Banner showing him the way round, giving him a hand and teaching him some tricks. Zach Torian was in P5 and Jack Andrews in P6 with problems with the bike. Sullivan Mounsey, 3 laps down, managed to get back out, managed to get some points, but he'll be very disappointed with that one. He was looking quick early on, but it's okay. Still race 3 to go, so Sully's still got a chance to get out there and show some talent.
Yeah, he certainly does, and we know the amount of talent that he has in his back pocket, waiting to use him, waiting to get a good result. But yeah, Sullivan Mounsey, he'll be home for a good race in race 3, but still plenty more action to come.
Mini GP50 race 2, featuring no Marco Holt, and well, race 1. It was all about the 2 on the front row. It was Luke Fitchett versus Archie O'Brien. And despite Archie's best efforts and, just deep desire to take that first win this season, first win on the Mini GP bikes, as he shoots up a wave in the commentary box. That's nice from him, isn't he? Just couldn't get past the defensive masterclass that is Luke Flat Cap Fitchett. Luke sits on the pole with Archie O'Brien, the young superstar, alongside him. Bill Harris would be I believe he's starting in P3. He had a bit of an accident this morning.
Frankie Watson actually for this year already.
Yeah. So Frankie Watson should be going off of P5, but that is gone. So issues already for Frankie Watson. Finley Polehill will be going off of P4, and Bailey Lawrence will go off of P6 as he speaks to some of his colleagues in the paddock. And yeah, no idea what's happened there, but that is just gone. So some of the marshals running over to lend a hand. But just to run through the grid again for you then, as I got a bit interrupted. Luke Fitchett starts on pole, Archie O'Brien in second. I believe Bill Harris is going from third. Yes, he is. He's good to see he's racing after his accident this morning. Finley Polehill goes from 4. Frankie Watson should be going from 5 if they can get it started again. And Bailey Lawrence rounds out the grid. Archie O'Brien, he's just not quite been able to get the hang of starts this year, of course. The first time on a GP bike. Didn't do much time on the bike over winter, and despite his double championship in Mini Moto last year in the pros and the elites, just the starts have been his enemy. Just can't quite get the hang of those clutch starts compared to the twist and go bikes that are the Mini Motos. But he's got the pace. If he sorts out the starts, you know, he'll be absolutely golden. But currently, that's what's holding him back. Luke Fitchett just gets the better starts, and we know Luke Fitchett can defend for days and days on end and not show a single crack. Such is his defensive talent. And it looks like Frankie Watson's got going again. So we will be just waiting for him to round out his formation lap, and that's probably not going to be ideal for the riders on the grid. Brakes and tyres getting cold, engines running hot as well. So turn 1 could be a little bit interesting, but Frankie Watson, he gets to the final corner, his first season on a bike full stop. So you know, he's doing a great job, bearing when he didn't even do Mini Motos. Brings it in to his P5 grid stop. And now our eyes dart to those 3 red lights. Race 2 for the Mini GP 50s, and all eyes on the front row. Can Archie O'Brien get the start? Will Luke Fitchett take it once again from the pole position? Red lights go on, red lights go out, and once again, Archie O'Brien not with the best start, but he still holds on to P2. Finley Polehill not great either away from the line. He'll be disappointed with that one, but it is Luke Fitchett that leads the way, and that's Frankie Watson, who's gone from having a bike malfunction to P3. Unreal, but Fitchett leads from O'Brien on this opening lap, and O'Brien once again on the tail. I think we're going to have a repeat of the battle in race 2 here. Fitchett against O'Brien.
Yeah, look, Fitchett having to defend straight away from O'Brien. O'Brien made a pretty good start this time round. Wasn't too far back. His initial launch was slightly slow, but then he managed to save it and get a good launch. As Finley Polehill is having the battle further down with Bill Harris. Bill Harris, as you mentioned, had that crash in warm-up, but he's back and he's looking strong as now we come round the final corner to finish the first lap. It's Luke Fitchett who leads the way from Archie O'Brien, and what a great start it's been so far. It's going to heat up as this race going. Frankie Watson is still in that 3rd position, and Finley Polehill in 4th, Bill Harris 5th, and Bailey Lawrence in 6th position right now. So 10 laps going this race. These bikes are so quick for these young riders. Archie O'Brien, he's took it like a duck in water this year, moving up to the 50s from the Mini Motos, and look how strong he is, already battling with the likes of Luke Fitchett.
I mean, when you consider that Archie O'Brien did basically no time on this bike over winter, has jumped straight on it this season and is performing as well as he is, it is absolutely great to see. And of course, you know, it's a very, very talented grid that we have here in the 50s. As I believe Bailey Lawrence may have just had a big moment, so she's dropped back a little bit, but she's still on the bike, which is fantastic to see. And you know, Archie O'Brien, you know, for him, this is most likely very much a learning year on the bike. And of course, he's got the support from that Vision Track Academy as well, Michael Lafferty's team. And that is great to see him in the Vision Track colours on the number 91. But you know, this is a learning year, and he's fighting for wins. He hasn't got that first win just quite yet. Flat Cap Fitchett denying him yesterday, and Marco Holt being the other perpetrator who's getting in his way of the top step at the podium. Those two have been the ones to beat this season. But you know, Archie O'Brien, I know he wants it so badly, and I was speaking to his mum yesterday and speaking to her today as well, and she's just determined. You know, this is the round that we're winning a race. We are coming away from the second Llandow event with a medal with the number 1 on it to our name as they head onto the backstretch. Fitchett's broken a little bit of a gap this time, but I think O'Brien may have just run slightly wide through the middle sector. But of course, 9 laps, more like 8 laps left to go, should I say, as they cross the line. Still plenty of time for the action to happen, but Luke Fitchett is just looking so at home on that motorcycle. Archie O'Brien, he's got the upper hand in the middle sector, actually, as we saw in race 1. You know, he's coming through the tight and twisty stuff down as we're seeing at what we're seeing at Finley Polehill, we're just about to go into. But then just coming out onto the fast back section, and Fitchett just is quicker, and O'Brien just can't quite keep up with him. So it's a game of chess, really, between the two of them. One of them has the advantage on the stuff where you can't overtake, and the one who's leading has the advantage on stuff where you can overtake.
Yeah, exactly. And this, of course, is the first round that Archie O'Brien has been to a track that he's already raced the 50 on. As Finlay Paul coming back from his injury, looks to actually have caught up on the back of Frankie Watson. So Frankie Watson having to start defending maybe in a lap or two's time, because Finlay Paul, he's closing in and he's closing in fast. He's broke away from Bill Harris, so there's having a scrap with Finlay Paul for the most of the race now. But Bill Harris, after his crash, maybe just feeling the effects of that, dropping back just slightly as this race is going on. There's still 7 laps to go, so still a long, long way to go, and still a lot of action that can take place, because Finlay Paul, he's still closing it in. He's closed it in significantly, maybe line up a move towards the end of this lap with that tech-free KTM-inspired livery, as Archie O'Brien is down. Archie O'Brien's crashed out of race 2 on that Vision Track bike with the Spider-Man helmet. He's crashed out. He's trying to get the bike restarted maybe, but maybe too much damage to keep going. They're just checking everything's okay. But yeah, it's looking like it's maybe going to be a retirement here from Archie O'Brien. Not what he was wanting. The race is certainly over for him now. The bike getting pushed.
Oh, what a shame.
To the tyre wall, and Archie O'Brien, that's not how he wanted his weekend to, well, that's not how he wanted Sunday to start. There's still one more race later on, and with the way FAB works, your qualifying result is where you start for all races. But Archie O'Brien's looking distraught. He jumps over the tyre wall, jumps over the fence, and will be certainly getting a lot of pat on the backs and cuddles from his friends and family that will be there. But Frankie Watson still under pressure now in 2nd position and defending for that, well, defending from 3rd place, Finlay Paul. So now this really opens up this podium battle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a shame for Archie O'Brien, one of the nicest, and yeah, just one of the nicest young men you'll meet in the paddock. So friendly, mature beyond his years, and that is a real shame. But of course, as you said, there's a race 3. Hopefully everything is all right with the bike. Frankie Watson and Finlay Paul now duking it out for P2. If they finish as they are, that's Frankie Watson's best finish of the year so far, which again, in his first season of motorcycle racing, is a fantastic result for him. But Finlay Paul, I know, is going to, give him a good go. There's still 5 laps left in this race. Unfortunately, Bill Harris is dropping a bit back, and I'm just starting to wonder if that crash this morning is actually just maybe starting to affect his mentality in the bike. I mean, I'm sure you're well aware, Lewis, you've crashed enough motorcycles in your time up in Scotland. But, the worst thing about crashing a bike, it's not the damage you do to yourself, and this is really bad, obviously. It's not the damage you do to the bike. It's more the damage you do to you can't think of the word now. It's the damage you do to your mind. You just lose that confidence on the bike, and that is the biggest effect in your performance.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's really where you get to see what you're made of, is how fast you can come back from a crash and how many times it takes you to do the laps and go around that one corner once again to be able to get back up to speed and get back up to your normal lap times. And then it's just a mental block, and the harder you try to get rid of that mental block, the harder it is actually to get rid of it. You almost just need to try and sidetrack it and focus on something else. As right now, the battle is still raging on for that 2nd place between Finlay Paul. He still not managed to find a way past just yet from Frankie Watson. But Frankie Watson, great ride so far. I think we can both agree, starting from 5th position and straight away from the first corner up into 3rd, and having this much class on your first year on a race bike.
I mean, talk about drama for Frankie Watson. He's gone from the engine conking out onto on the formation lap and nearly not making the grid, to jumping into 3rd from the lights going out, and now he's in 2nd place with 3 laps left to run. And Finlay Paul is pushing hard, but Frankie Watson at the moment is staying strong in that 2nd place spot. And of course, even if they do swap places and Frankie ends up finishing 3rd, it's still his best result of the year on the podium. And Finlay Paul, I think he will love the 2nd place, and again, I think he knows at the back of his mind, this is a podium, this is strong points. There's no need to risk an accident, risk breaking the bike. Let's just keep it calm, because he doesn't seem to be pushing too hard out there. As you see Bill Harris going around in that P4, just trying to slowly work his way back up to speed after qualifying P3. Didn't get the best of starts, unfortunately, but I'm sure race 3 he'll be back in full fighting form. But yeah, I think Finlay Paul is just, taking it calm, taking it easy. And Frankie Watson is absorbing all of that pressure that is being put on him anyway, and is running a great race out there. 2 laps left to go. Luke Fitchett is just in a field of his own at the moment after the retirement of Archie O'Brien. And, well, there is your race leader. Runs a little bit wide there, actually. Runs over the curb. You don't really want to clip that curb on a mini GP. It's not the nicest of things. It's not really your friend, so to speak. But it's you can get away with it. And Luke Fitchett just out there running laps. A bit of an unscheduled test session for him, except at the end of it, he's going to get a medal and a whole chunk of points, which will extend his advantage in the championship. And of course, with no Marco Holt here this weekend, and with Archie O'Brien out of this race, Luke Fitchett, as he starts the last lap of this race, Lewis, is looking to capitalise.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's capitalised on every single opportunity he has got this year. Some of it has been up to his own doing, such as his defending that he's done this year. He's been so impressive as Finlay Paul is in that second position now, and Frankie Watson has just one lap to call it back. If not, it'll still be a podium. It's still a great result considering what happened at the start, even before the race. But Luke Fitchett has been so dominant all race. Last time at the line, it was a 17.7 second gap to second place. Just so impressive and incredible form that Luke Fitchett has been on all season, really. He's just been so impressive. He's been on form. He's been defending for his life. But here we have the final corner. One more corner to go. A 17-second lead. No one can stop him. It's Luke Fitchett's day. Once again, race 2, Mini GP 50 goes to Luke Fitchett. He's been so impressive, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that result. It was so dominant. But there's the battle further down for second position. Frankie Watson now just getting past Bailey Lawrence, and now Frankie Watson, he still gets a third position, still on that podium. Maybe not second that he could have got, but considering where he was before the race even started, he is so happy with that. But Luke Fitchett, great performance once again. It's exactly what we seen yesterday. He managed to crack Archie O'Brien, which is something that we've not seen him do all year.
Yeah, a rare mistake from Archie O'Brien. We believe it was a mistake unless, of course, there was a failure of some description. But Luke Fitchett, brilliant ride once again, takes his second victory of the weekend. Finlay Polehill, great stuff from him to get onto second. As of course, Frankie Watson, as you mentioned, brilliant to see him third. All those podium with fantastic races each. It will be Luke Fitchett who takes 2 from 2. Flat cap Fitchett with another fantastic performance. Bangs the bike, waves to the camera. With Finlay Polehill bringing it home second, and Frankie Watson his best result of the year in P3. Bailey Lawrence brought it home in P4. I believe Bill Harris actually pulled into the pits right at the end there because he's been classified as a DNF, and I can't actually see him out on track, so that's a shame there. Archie O'Brien rounds out the field, of course, also not finishing the race. So that promotes Bailey Lawrence to 4th, which is fantastic for her. That's a really good result. And again, doesn't matter how they come, it just matters that they come, and I'm sure she'll be delighted with that P4. Part of it is just staying in the race, isn't it? That will conclude the second race of the Mini GP 50s.
And coming up next, we will have the youngest class. It is the AC40 Pros. It's race 2 for these guys.
Rookies, not pros.
AC40 Rookies, sorry. It's their first race of the day. Pros were earlier on, but it was a great race yesterday. Sebastian Gieslowski got the better of Taylor Tomlinson for the first time in quite a while, and now it looks like Taylor Tomlinson is coming back for redemption and coming back for that race win.
Absolutely. Spoke to Taylor earlier, and very mature young man, obviously very quick on the motorcycle as well, and just very quick. Shoots a wave up to the commentary box. Hello, Taylor. But he's just saying Sebastian is just so fast around this track, just completely in tune, and obviously a very strong win yesterday, even after making a mistake and running wide and letting Tomlinson back through. It was straight back into the lead not too long afterwards. And do forgive the mistake there from Lewis. He's had a long trip down from Scotland. It's been a long weekend, but he's trying his best. Taylor Tomlinson goes from pole position, but race 1 winner Sebastian Gieslowski goes off of P2. Logan Cousins is P3 with Nicholas Dunwoody in 4th place. Josh Perkins, he starts 5th with Seth Hayward alongside him. Annabelle McCarthy and Kai Hawker make up row 4. And Tyler Hartley and Archie Hooper, they round out the top 10. Max Johnson and Caelan Ratcliffe start just behind them, followed by Danny Longhurst in 30th and Mason Fedrick in 14th. Oliver Wilson is P15, Henry Brody is P16, and Freddie Taylor finishes off our grid starting in 17th position. We had a great race yesterday, Lewis. Rookies this year has been absolutely electric, no matter where we've been. Second time here at Llandow. You excited?
Yeah, it's going to be a great race. And yeah, we have a couple, I think we have one new rider for today's race.
And Brody, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be a great Great race, and having more riders coming in to the field, and no Usher this round. Actually, Ross, you'll be very disappointed with that one.
Levinson Usher, our new favourite in the commentary booth at Wilton Mill. He's not here this weekend, unfortunately. Henry Brodie, he did qualify 16th. Then wasn't here yesterday for race 1. Went home for some reason, but you know he's here today, which is great to see. No problem with that, and it's great to see Henry back. But it's time to get focused. Marshals and parents giving last words of advice to the youngest riders we have here at FAB-Racing. You can get going in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup from 6 years old, which is just incredible to think about. The front two on the grid as we wait the potential future stars of British Talent Cup, of BSB, of MotoGP. Who knows? It all starts here in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, the AC40 Rookies class. All problems maybe for Logan Cousins. Just a last check. The flag marshal, Rob, he will point to the lights. And now we all know what happens now. It's red lights on. Lights off. We're underway. Gazlowski with another brilliant start and straight into the lead. Who is that? Shooting into third place in the background. And, well, there we go. Gazlowski leads from Taylor Tomlinson. I believe that was Nicholas Dunwoody. Oh, someone down. That's Logan Cousins. Oh, and someone else as well. A big crash. Cousins down. Number 10 down as well of Tyler Hartley. And that is a real shame, but we carry on nonetheless. It is Gazlowski leading the race. Tomlinson pushing though as they come to the back section of the track, down into the awkward right-hander as we have a red flag here. A red flag at Llandow, the first one of the day. All the riders must come to a stop at their nearest marshal post. And hopefully everything is okay. But a red flag here at Llandow. And yeah, hopefully everyone was all right. But that was a really strong start once again for Sebastian Gazlowski, going off of P2 on the grid. Same thing as he did yesterday, just slotted through into first at the corner. And I believe it was Nicholas Dunwoody actually managed to snipe third away. So here we go. And I believe there may have been some issues at the start. Someone was asking race control if they could have a race restart potentially, but someone said race control went ahead anyway. So maybe some problems at the race start as well. We'll try and find out what's happened. But as we just wait to see what's going on with this red flag. Of course, a few of the young riders having discussions, you know, what's going on, maybe what's for lunch, I fancy some chips, or is it, you know, pure focus from these young riders?
Yeah, it really just depends on the person, to be honest. Some of these riders, they almost like to escape from racing whenever they can, just maybe have a laugh, try and distract themselves from the situation, quite a stressful situation that's going on at the moment, but others may just be focusing purely on that race start. Other riders may not even be wanting to speak to each other, to be honest, and may just want to purely focus on themselves. But yeah, it looks like...
Yeah, he's getting told no, but he's going ahead anyway.
Refueling job getting done, because it's such small fuel tanks on these mini motorbikes, to be fair.
I'm going to check my sporting regulations, because I'm not entirely sure if that's legal, to be brutally honest with you. I've got the regs here. Let's have a look. Event procedure start. You know what? Well, we'll find out anyway. He's filled up he's filled them up. So, well, hopefully they've got enough fuel on board now. Maybe they maybe that was why they were asking to stop the race. Maybe they realised they underfueled the bike potentially. Not entirely sure, but well, flag rules, red. Race stopped immediately, slow with care, and proceed at touring pace to a stop area is indicated. There will, where possible, be pointed out at the riders' briefing. The stop area may in certain circumstances be on the circuit, and well, there we go. It doesn't say. I don't think we've ever had someone refuel during a red flag before. We don't really usually have refueling here at FAB-Racing mid-race, so guess that needs to be updated for next round. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's interesting you said that some of the riders like to escape. I mean, I always would have thought, you know, in a red flag period, you've got to maintain your focus. You know, you just got to stay razor sharp, keep to yourself. You know, maybe just reset psychologically just for a second, you know, just get back into the zone. Because obviously the race start, obviously you're concerned if everyone's okay, what the problem is, and the fact that your race has stopped is a bit frustrating, I can presume. But it must, you know, I mean, if I was out there riding, I'd be definitely someone who just stays there, visor down, don't want to talk to anyone, just stay in the zone.
Yeah, you can just see now some of the riders getting some words from Fraser Rogers, I believe, ex-British Championship rider, raced in Moto2 as well, wildcarding at Portimao a couple of years ago. But yeah, these riders now still having a little chat and just discussing maybe what happened on that restart. But yeah, some of them just liking to escape from the situation. You can just see some of them even having a laugh at the moment. But yeah, our newcomer for today actually will be Jensen Ansel.
Oh, it is Jensen Ansel,
with
isn't it?
the purple and yellow levers on your screen there, the number 22. So yeah, it's great to see these guys hopefully get to the end of this red flag period soon. But yeah, hopefully then we can get underway. As you can see now, Logan Cousins getting carried off the track. Looks like the situation's over.
Yeah, he was up on his feet, which is the main thing. So great to see that Logan is okay. Apologies to Henry Brody. I thought you were the newcomer, but it's actually Jensen Ansel who's been around this season. He's had a couple of pretty strong results as well, if memory serves me correctly. But yeah, great to see that Logan is all right. The medical cars make their way back to the pit lane, and glad to see that everyone is all right. I presume because the red flag was on lap 1, it will be a total race restart. Apparently race control just having that debate right now, so we'll let you know what is going on. But that's usually what tends to happen here at FAB-Racing when we have a red flag early in the race. We usually just have a complete race restart, which I think is very fair. You know, the first lap you're going to make up positions, you're going to lose positions. And if there's a red flag, that's racing. Unfortunately, you got to deal with the bumps in the road that come along. And well, we're better to go through with that than at the bumpy Llandow circuit here, the South Wales Karting Centre. Going to be a full race restart. Just had that confirmed in our ears. So, one sighting lap once again, and then we'll be going from where we originally started. So Taylor Tomlinson from the pole position, and Sebastian Kozlowski, who was leading the race at the time of the red flag, he'll be going off of P2, and he'll be wanting to make another lightning start, I'm sure. As we wait around, hoping to get going once again. A lot of the marshals just waiting unsure, hoping that everyone is okay. And of course, great to see that Logan was up on his feet. Of course, Logan Cousins going down, coming out of the hook. The opening complex here at Llandow. Of course, a big thank you to all of the marshals this weekend, all of the medics doing a fantastic job allowing us to go racing. And, you know, it really is a privilege to have them here. If you're just tuning in and or you're watching along live, hello and welcome to round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships here at the South Wales Karting Centre, the Llandow Kart Circuit. Just as we wait to get going again, as well, looks like one of the paramedics lecturing or perhaps briefing the parents there, the yellow high visors. That's the parents of the riders or any volunteers from the FAB Paddock. So orange vest is marshal, yellow high vis is well, they're also marshals, but they're usually parents all taken from the FAB Paddock volunteers who go from race to race. So yeah, paramedic, it looks to be having quite a stern word there. I wonder what they're saying. Some of the parents look a bit unimpressed or look a bit disappointed, but they've all been sent on their way. But yeah, if you're just tuning in or you've been watching along all weekend, hello and welcome to round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship here at the Llandow Kart Circuit at the South Wales Karting Centre, just 20 miles to the west of Cardiff, situated in a field which was once RAF Llandow back in World War II. I've been waiting to whip my facts out there. If we get a longer red flag period later, I might have to whip up my RAF airbase facts about RAF Llandow, but I'll spare you the pain for the time being. And a bit of a crowd forming here as well. Of course, we've got a big crowd down in the paddock, a big crowd forming in the background in the along the public road just outside the Hangar Straight as well. And of course, if you're watching along, be it on the FAB-Racing or Motorsport Radio streams or audio places, then hello and welcome. Make sure you like, share, follow, share, subscribe, all of those above to you know, really get FAB-Racing out there. It's you know, such a great championship, and it's a real privilege to bring you all of the action here.
Yeah, it certainly is. The paramedics having a final few words before then we can hopefully get underway for this restart. And it looks like now bikes making the way back to the grid, and then we can get underway for this full restart of the race. Maybe that is why we see a parent run over and refill the bike, because they thought it would be a full restart and maybe just put enough fuel in for the original race distance, plus the cool down and warm-up lap. So now they would have to do another 2 extra laps that they wouldn't be doing on their fuel tanks. So
it's the first time I've heard of maybe trying to run a lighter fuel load as possible in a mini moto race. It must be said. I mean, that's kind of something that usually gets preserved when you get higher up the motorsport ladder, and you really start thinking about strategy in longer races. Instead of we're here at Llandow race 2. Let's underfuel the bike and run a strategy. I mean, these bikes don't have gears. It's just twist and go. So, but you know what? Fair enough. Refueling the bike, but they're all back on the grid now. Hopefully everyone else can make race distance if fuel is a concern here. Llandow isn't the longest track. They are, of course, banging the rev limiter coming down the back stretch. It is quite long for these rookies mini motors. Of course, they've got a bit of a limiter on them. Max speed of 42 miles an hour in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup on these mini moto machines. One warm-up lap, and then it'll be a full race restart. And we'll be going once again as we just sit around and wait to get going. Last words of advice once again from the parents as we see some of the crowd watching along here in the paddock. Of course, great to see everybody here at FAB-Racing always watching all of the races. Let's run through the grid, shall we? Taylor Tomlinson starts from pole again. Sebastian Goslavsky starts from second again. They're all starting in the same place, if you couldn't tell. Logan Cousins is third. Nicholas Dunwoody is in fourth. Josh Perkins is followed by Seth Hayward. Annabelle McCarthy is seventh with Kai Hawken in eighth. Tyler Hartley is 9th, Archie Hooper is 10th, Max Johnson 11th, Caelan Ratcliffe 12th, Danny Longhurst and Mason Frederick on the 7th row, Oliver Wilson, Henry Brody, Freddie Taylor, Jensen Ansell rounding out the grid. Of course, no Logan Cousins anymore. Not sure if Tyler Hartley, the other rider involved in that incident, is here. I vaguely recall him getting back onto the bike, so I think we will be seeing Tyler Hartley, but of course no Logan Cousins. That third grid spot will be empty.
Yeah, Tyler Hartley, I believe, is making it out for the restart. And now we're just waiting for the riders to head round this lap. It's quite a short lap, as you mentioned, Ross, and it's quite a fast lap as well, especially on these mini motos. They really have to run the neck out of it just to get a good lap time, keep up that momentum and keep up that speed to produce a good lap time. And Taylor Thompson knows how to do that better than anyone. But Sebastian Goslavsky is trying to show him the way this weekend. What is going to happen? It is race 2 of the AC40 Rookies class. 18 riders in this field. It's 17 making this restart, and it's going to be a great race, I am sure. And yeah, Tyler Hartley is making the restart, so it's great to see these riders remounting and getting on with it straight away. So we're just waiting for final checks to be done, final riders heading to the grid, and then we can get underway. Parents now getting off the grid. The paramedic is at the back of the grid to signify everything's good back there, and then we can get underway for the restart of race 2, first race of the day for these guys, youngest class at FAB. Wait for Rob to head off the grid, point to the lights, then we can get underway. The lights are now on, and the lights are off, and we are racing for the AC40 Rookies, and Sebastian Goslavsky off the line has been a great start, and Taylor Thompson has dropped back down to second place once again, but it's Nicholas Dunwoody who's now into third. Josh Perkins made a pretty good start. Tyler Hartley looks to have dropped back off the line off that initial launch, but Sebastian Goslavsky leads the way, is trying to recreate what we seen yesterday, but Taylor Thompson knows that he has to just get past him and force him into making him make a mistake, because we've seen it yesterday. Sebastian Goslavsky made that mistake, although he managed to get his composure back and get his lap times back down. It's still possible to push these guys to the limits and push them potentially even over the limits, as now Taylor Tomlinson, over half the lap, has already done already, is lining up and moving to this back straight, and is already trying to make the move, it seemed, going onto the straight, but it looks a bit too far back to be able to dive down in the last corner, but he's trying it even. He's having a little look, seeing what it would be like, seeing what it feels like to be in the inside of the track, and now it looks like Nicholas Dunwoody is under pressure from Josh Perkins, and it's a great scrap for this final podium position after one lap.
It is indeed. Unfortunately, the camera angle down the hanger straight, the back straight, is really deceiving, so they do look a lot closer than they actually are. So we can just see the back half of the straight out of our window. So I'm kind of watching them coming down the straight and going, oh, he's really close, he's going to try and move it. And then you look out and it's actually a lot bigger gap than you'd want. But it's, you know, it still is a great overtaking opportunity, and that despite the deceiving camera angle, it's probably the best place to go for a dive bomb on the circuit. Gazlowski, again, great start. That's 3 good starts this weekend in 2 races, of course, with the red flag earlier. Taylor Tomlinson, though, still on his tail, and they are neck and neck as they come through the back straight. Further back as well, there's action all throughout the pack. There is your front 2, and Gazlowski just looks to get a bit of a better drive out onto the hanger straight. Just a better exit out of the right-hander. Runs a little bit tighter through the final hairpin as well, so that gives Tomlinson a better later run down the front, not quite as straight as we see there down at the final corner. A rider going down, and already the red flag being brought out, so the second red flag this race. And hopefully everyone is all right, but the riders come to a stop once again. I'm not sure what the procedure will be this time. I doubt it will be a full race restart this time. We're a few laps in, but we'll let you know what's happening. But it's been a great race so far. Of course, we had a great half lap, then a red flag. Then we've had a great few laps. And Sebastian Gazlowski, once again, the rider on form.
Yeah, Sebastian Gazlowski makes a great start once again, and now he's going to have to try and recreate that again. And it's so tough. He's going to be feeling a lot more pressure, I think, this restart. Once we get underway, depending on how long this delay will be. But he's going to feel a lot of pressure knowing that he can make such a great start, and now he has to do it all over again. Slightly further back down the field that we're probably not used to seeing as the likes of Archie Hooper is in 6th position right now. Not in a terrible position, but we know that he can fight for that podium. And just off the podium, actually, before the red flag came out, was Seth Hayward on your screen, number 15. And he was making a great start just off that podium, and he looked like he actually had the pace as the rider who was here for the Friday practice but went home yesterday and is back today. Jensen Ansel is at the back of your picture right now waiting, as some of the riders are now getting words from parents, advice maybe what to do, what they could have done better.
Reckon, or?
Maybe some more fuel, yeah. One of the riders slowly making their way around the track at the moment, maybe just a stoppage area where some parents are. So yeah, now we need to get underway once again for the rookies class, and these guys are getting no luck so far today.
Yeah, it's 2 red flags in pretty quick succession, unfortunately, for the rookies. Hopefully everyone is okay. Looks to be all fine. Of course, the accident down at the last corner, but everyone seems to be all okay. So just waiting to get confirmation from that. As we see an awning. That's very nice, isn't it? So you can see some of the equipment the FAB-Racing community brings along. And there is the FAB-Racing community. And there's the fuel can. There we go. That's Sebastian Gazlowski's pair. I think it's Sebastian Gazlowski's dad there. He's not refueling. I thought I saw a Sebastian Gazlowski shirt there. But I'll get that confirmed because that's definitely not Sebastian Gazlowski.
It's Tyler Hartley.
It is Tyler Hartley. So, so maybe not Sebastian Gazlowski, but I thought I saw a shirt, and there is the fuel going back in. So there we go, refueling a mini motor. It's the second time I've ever seen it in my life, and they've been very in quick succession. There is the rider up on their feet, which is great to see.
Nicholas Dunwoody, it looks like.
Nicholas Dunwoody, I believe that is. Yes, you are correct. So that's a shame for Nicholas Dunwoody, but it's up and walking back to the paddock, which is great to see. As we get going once again, I'm not sure what the plan is here. We'll be going and forming back on the grid anyway, as we have a look. But yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what the plan is.
Yeah, so now we're just waiting for Nicholas Dunwoody to go back into safety. He looked okay, he was on his feet, it's great to see. And there's Tyler Hartley on your screen right now after that refill, after getting the bike refilled, because of course that was the second red flag. And yeah, so now we're just waiting for the riders to head round and come round to get the second restart, third time on the grid for these guys. And yeah, so we're just waiting for these guys to line up on the grid, and then we can get underway for what should be a very exciting rookie race as we wait for race control to make their decision.
I've already heard the decision. I just went down to grab a special guest who I'll hand over to in a minute, but I've just been told there's a 7-lap race and refueling is allowed.
Well, 7-lap race and refueling will be allowed, so these guys can get back, and we're 1 warm-up lap here and then 7 racing laps. And in the commentary box, a special guest for this race will be Evan Belford. Evan, you've just been out on track in the Extreme 200s. Tell everyone, how was it?
Yeah, it was really good. It was a tough race with Philip. I haven't really had someone there like that in this championship in a while. But yeah, I really enjoyed the race, and hopefully this one's going to be good as well. Hopefully no more red flags either.
Yeah, hopefully we can just get underway, and it looks like actually we're going to get straight to racing. The points to the lights is done. We wait for the red lights to come on. The red lights are on and the red lights are off, and once again Sebastian Gieslowski gets the best start possible and is leading the way into turn 1. Taylor Tomlinson drops back to that second place once again, but it's Josh Perkins who's into that third. Seth Hayward into 4th place once again. Tyler Hartley was a few places to who I believe is Annabelle McCarthy. So great start once again from Sebastian Gieslowski on that number 64 bike. Taylor Tomlinson though is on the attack straight away, wanting to push on at this Llandow circuit. It's such a fast track, and Evan, you've just been out there, you've been out here all weekend. What is it like racing on this circuit?
The circuit's quite bumpy, to be honest, but as you can see, the mini motors don't have any suspension, so it's probably a lot more tougher for them, but they seem to be getting along with it quite well.
And obviously you've raced in FAB before, you've raced in the GP70s, you've won the championship actually in the GP70s. What's it like progressing through the ranks here at FAB, and how hard is it really to get used to the different style of bikes as you move up through the ranks?
Yeah, it's really tough. It's something you got to get used to as you progress up the ranks. But yeah, the bikes are just something you want to learn on. A 2-stroke is key. But other than that, yeah, it's really good.
And you're racing the British Talent Cup. How's that going? Obviously being a previous FAB rider, being one of the many FAB riders actually that move up to the British Talent Cup. How have you found it so far in your couple of seasons in the championship?
Yeah, the British Talent Cup has been quite tough this year because I broke my leg at the start of the year. But other than that, it's been pretty good and progressive. I've been beating all my lap times in the previous year. So yeah, I'm really happy with how the season's going. I just need to get on with it now towards the end of the season because I've only got 4 races left, and hopefully we can beat Johnny.
Yeah, it's quite a tough ask, Johnny Garnis. And Evan, what's your best memory of being here in this paddock at FAB?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's many really good memories at FAB. It's a really good place to start riding. This is basically where I grew up.
Yeah, and Taylor Tomlinson actually has took the lead of this race over Sebastian Gieslowski, and it's straight away he's on the pace and he's making sure Sebastian Gieslowski cannot do what he did yesterday. So it looks like, oh, Taylor Tomlinson's down. Taylor Tomlinson's crashed out of the lead. He knows that was his fault, that was his mistake, but he's still looks a bit questionable what happened there. Looks like he's a bit questioning his mistake and what he actually done wrong there, but now it's going to be Gieslowski who lost. Well, now it's Gieslowski who's in the lead, but it looks like he just lost the front. But Evan, 3rd place I believe last year in the British Talent Cup, was it? Yeah, so are you wanting to better that this year? Is it something really that you came into this season looking at that 3rd place thinking maybe you could fight for the championship, because obviously the Vision Track bikes that are here at FAB as well, but the Vision Track team at the British Talent Cup have been so strong.
Yeah, the Vision Track team is really strong in British Talent Cup, but I can't really, because of the broken leg at the start of the season, I can't really make my way up to the front of the championship, but I can just get really good results and yeah, just show people what I have really.
And so next year, have you got any plans yet set in place, or is it still unknown at this part of the season?
No, I really don't know anything yet. It's just we'll see how the rest of the season goes, see what pace we can set, and yeah, hopefully we can try and move up a rank. If not, stay in the British Talent Cup again.
Yeah, British Talent Cup is quite good. Very good coverage for a young guy, showing the talents of the future. What's been your highlight in that championship, and what's been your favourite circuit you've raced at? Because obviously you were at the MotoGP 2 rounds ago for the British Talent Cup. What was that like as an experience as well?
Yeah, it was a really good experience. We just had a few problems with the bike, so we just had quite a rough round and the round before that. But other than that, the tracks have been amazing. My favourite track is probably Knock Hill. I had my first race win there last year, and yeah, when I broke my leg and I came back, I won there the first race I came back, so really happy with that.
And how was that recovery process from breaking your leg? And really, like all racers, you'll be itching to get back onto a motorbike and get back racing.
Yeah, the recovery process took like 8 weeks, I think, and then I was back on the bike. But yeah, it was really tough, mentally, because I had to just tell myself I had to get back into the championship and start winning races straight away.
which I did. And then, yeah, the season just went pretty good from there.
And right now, Taylor Thompson's making his way up, and he's already passed Archie Hooper, actually, in the number 12, and he's making his way up into the top 10, currently in 8th position, fighting for 7th. But, Evan, you're watching these pictures right now, you're watching the talents of the future for British motorcycle racing. It's definitely got better in the past couple of years with the support system that we now have in place, and you can really see how much FAB is helping these guys.
Yeah, FAB is helping them a lot. Seems like everyone's getting on really well with the championship, and the rookies are progressing all the way through the season. So, yeah, the future stars are in this class, really.
And from these guys, obviously, they're going to have to make next steps up to the likes of the higher mini moto classes, the pros and the elites, and then potentially to the Metro Kit bikes. What is like the jump like from a mini moto to a Metro Kit?
It's not difficult, really. You just need to get your head around the gears and the clutch and all that. But once you've done that, it's pretty easy on the bike. You've just got to make sure on a 50 you're carrying a lot of corner speed, because that's key. And then on 70, you've just got to be quite cautious with the throttle, as it's got a lot of horsepower.
Yeah, well, Sebastian Gieslowski is heading on to the last lap now. He is looking to be cautious, and you have one more race today, Evan. What's the aim for it? Is it to get that race win, or is it just to maybe just learn something, get back on the bike, get more time on the bike, and just get your head back into the game ready for the next round of the British Talent Cup?
Really, the next race is to just have a good battle with Philip, obviously, and then hopefully get a better lap time. I want to be in the 56s. But if I can't do that, then just got to try and win the race as usual.
Well, Sebastian Gieslowski looks like he is going to win the race. He currently leads at 11.4 seconds last time round. So, Evan, Sebastian Gieslowski looks like he's about to win this race. What is your favourite memory of a win? What would you say is your best win in this FAB-Racing categories?
Oh, that's quite hard. I reckon at Tattershall, when I was battling with James Cook in 2019. I remember it was quite a tough race towards the start, and then I dive bombed him into the first corner, and then after that I just managed my gap out front.
Well, he takes the checker flag and he wins the race. Gieslowski gets another race win in his book. The number 64 takes it after cracking Taylor Tomlinson. It's something that we didn't expect to see, but Taylor Tomlinson has put in great effort. But Tyler Hartley right now is trying to catch up with Annabelle McCarthy. He's took a better line out the final corner, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it work. Josh Perkins comes home in that second place. Taylor Thompson, though, does make it back up to 4th, so very impressive recovery and very impressive. In such sunny conditions, we're expecting much wetter conditions this weekend, but we got quite lucky with the weather, if I do say so. So Sebastian Gieslowski wins this race on the number 64 after multiple restarts. He just managed to perfect his launch, but yeah, so he wins the race by 13.5 seconds at the line over Josh Perkins. Seth Hayward rounds off our podium. Taylor Thompson, after amazing recovery, comes home in 4th with Kai Hawkins in 5th. Annabelle McCarthy comes home in 6th with Tyler Hartley, Ratcliffe and Archie Hooper rounding off that battle for that 6th position. And finally, actually, the newcomer, Jensen Ansel, comes home in 10th. Missed yesterday, back today, came from back of the grid, and to get a top 10, that's amazing. But thanks for joining me, Evan. Hopefully we'll be seeing you at more rounds of FAB this year.
Yeah, I will be at more rounds of FAB, and thank you for having me.
Right, thanks, Evan. And yeah, that's Evan Belford, who has one more race later on today in the Extreme 200s. And make sure to support him out in track. Remember, you can come here at FAB, you can watch it, and what an amazing race that was. Ross, you're back alongside me, and what a race that was in the AC40 Rookies.
Yeah, I mean, it took us a while to get to the end, but when we did get there eventually, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Taylor Tomlinson, I mean, we've seen that before in the wet at Wilton when he went down and then managed to get back up and fight all the way to 2nd, and we've seen it once again, although only up to 4th this time, but again, a brilliant comeback from Tomlinson. But Sebastian Gieslowski, he is just on it this weekend, isn't he? Just super fast. As we're just hearing that race control is giving a 1-second penalty whose parent, or a roving marshal as they're known, who signals to their child during the race. I've just been reciting that in my ears, so just to repeat that properly after not reciting it. So announcement from race control, any young rider, so any junior rider whose parent or a roving marshal, the marshals with the yellow high vis, they're all parents, who then signals to their rider and tries to give them information, they're getting a 1 second penalty for every single time they do that. So that could potentially upset a few people. Of course, some riders like to have a bit of help. You know, this isn't just junior riders. Some guys up in MotoGP and BSB just like to have a bit of coaching and guidance. Just how to get around the track. Probably just someone, obviously not on their ear when they're out on the bike, but someone who's there just helping them along a bit, and just so you're not on this journey alone. And a lot of riders and drivers as well in the four-wheeled variant of motorsports, that weird thing that we don't really like here, they do like having that, and just having that extra person, that extra support. So especially for the younger riders, often their dad or their mum who's been with them since the start of their motorcycle journey. So that, yeah, potentially could be a bit interesting come race 3. As we well, nice of you to chat to Evan Belford. He's quite a nice lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is. He's such a fast lad as well. We've seen it in race 2 today. Even here at Fab, he still has the pace. Coming to Llandow, not the usual tracks that he races on now. Much bigger tracks, as you mentioned. The Silverstone GP circuit. It was at Fruxton. He was at for the last round. So it's so great to see more British Talent Cup riders coming.
Moto Team Race 2 time. Of course, the most confusing class, yet one of the best classes here at here at FAB-Racing. We've got some information for you. So Jason Pugh, the owner of the number 8 bike, which has Jack Andrews on it, even though Jack Andrews has his own bike here, the number 14. Jason Pugh in a crash broke, I think it was 9 ribs in a collarbone, I've just been told. And also some information as well on the number 1 bike in this race. It is Jamie King. So, of course, again, in Moto Team, it's you can get different riders in different races, all about the bike. So it's Jamie King on his own bike in this one. In race 1 and in race 3 later, it is Sean Whittaker on the bike. But it's Will Howarth on the number 96 who starts on pole. Jay King, he'll go from P2 in his 1 Moto Team appearance this weekend on that championship-winning number 1 bike. Jack Andrews, his bike goes from 3rd, even though it's not him on it. Ian Jackson goes from 4 on the 270. The Pugh machine of the number 8 with Jack Andrews on it. Bit confusing, he's got his own bike in the race here, he's on someone else's. That's from P5. The number 19 goes from P6. Scott Jewett is 7th. Madison Martlew is 8th. Philip Joyce, Paul Kelly and Ian Baker round out the grid. We had a fantastic Moto Team race 1, Lewis. I mean, honestly, probably the best Moto Team race I've ever seen. And bearing in mind, obviously, there's different classes to consider. All of the different classes were mixing. They were all fighting. We had a fantastic time out there as they all come around the final corner. And Will Howarth had a bit of a challenge on his hand. I mean, Will Howarth, until Shane Norville, the former 500cc Grand Prix rider that we didn't know was actually a Grand Prix rider until we Googled him afterwards, turned up and gave him a good go. And then in this one, he's turned up to Llandow and he's got some stiff competition. So maybe race 2 could be someone else on top. Let's wait and find out, shall we? Lights go out. We're underway. Jay King gets a great launch, but phase 2 bogs down at Will Howarth that sweeps into the lead in turn 1. Unfortunately for Jay King, the initial launch was so rapid on that number 1 machine. But unfortunately, just, I don't know if there's a bit of wheel spin or just the traction didn't quite get in, or even if the engine just bogged down but didn't quite get away. And now under pressure from the 270 machine. Of course, the 270 and the number 1 in the same category, and then following them as well, I believe that's the number 14 of Jack Andrews, also in that category. So Will Howarth is leading the way in the open class, but the bikes, all 3 bikes following him, all in that standard class. So this is a really important fight early on in this race here. And well, it's all very tight. Howarth's actually managed to break away, which is something he didn't quite do yesterday in race 1. So a bit of a gap forming already, but behind them, oh, there's a big cluster of bikes, isn't there? Look at them all piling down into the hairpin, and so many standard bikes having a fight. King tries the switchback, gets the switchback on the 270 of Ian Jackson. So they're fighting for the lead of the standard class and P2 overall. Will Howarth has not quite checked out, but he's got quite a healthy advantage already. But it's the number 1 of Jamie King who's leading the standard class.
Yeah, Jamie King, he got initial launch was really good as Ian Jackson tries to go round the outside of him, but he cannot make that one work on the Suzuki. But he got a great initial launch because he's on that 4-stroke over Will Howarth's 2-stroke. Will Howarth, though, as soon as he got into that power band, just shot off. But Jamie King's bike, I believe, as he gets overtaken by Ian Jackson, actually, for that 2nd position, for that standard class. So now, what can Jamie King do? He's changed his levers this weekend. It's a slight different look to Jamie King, but he's still got that number 1 plate because he won the championship last year. He knows how to ride a Moto Team bike, and right now he needs to use that skill and use that experience as Jack Andrews on Jason Pugh's bikes looks to go past his own bike. So it's quite a predicament that he is in right now. 11 laps to go in this race. We come across the line now to make it 10, and Will Howarth leads, and it actually looks like Ian Jackson has closed up that gap as Ian Jackson's just set the fastest lap of the race with 55.3.
Yeah, here comes the 270. And yeah, you can see there visually Will Houth suddenly potentially under threat, even though, of course, these guys are in different classes. Yeah, these guys are Will Houth in the open class, Ian Jackson in the standard class. So again, much like race 1, these two fighting matters nothing. It literally means absolutely nothing apart from honour and glory. The points don't change for them. It's just ego, essentially. It's the racer in them that just wants that overall victory. There is Ian Jackson with the fastest lap. Important to know that last year as well, you know, Jamie King, of course, that number, well, it was the number 1 last year. I believe it was running his classic number 96, but I'll get that confirmed for you. But last season, of course, he was on a pit bike. The regulation changed this year, so you can't quite use pit bike style machines anymore. But he tries to go on the inside of Ian Jackson to turn 1, can't make it. He actually, what he did was he often ran a competition on his YouTube channel, Pit Bike Sonic, which has really got quite a following now. And that's, you know, I think partly why we attribute, you know, the growth of pit bikes in recent years is, I think it's partly down to his efforts on his YouTube channel, which is great to see, alongside of course the great racing that's on display. And basically you could enter if you were part of the FAB Paddock and you could win a weekend on the bike. And you know that worked, and he went on the championship on it. Not doing that as much this year, but you know there's still other people riding that bike for him. But he's on it this time round, and of course. As we see there, the 270 maybe having a look at the inside of Will Houth. Again, this fight matters not for the championship, these two in 2 different classes. And actually, I think Will Houth could be having a few problems here, because there goes Ian Jackson to the overall lead. The 270, the Suzuki, goes through. Will Houth tries to switch back and gets back in front. So Will Houth back as the overall lead. Again, this fight literally doesn't matter in championship terms. These guys are in 2 different classes, but they desperately want that overall win, don't they? As Jay King follows in 3rd place, 2nd in the standard class. And behind him, it's the Jack Andrews number 14 with not Jack Andrews on it, because it's the number 8 following the 14 that has Jack Andrews on it. Try and work that one out. And it's all very, very tight up there. The 270 back to the lead. Will Houth trying to the inside into Chapman's, can't quite make it work. And that was very, very close indeed. Will Houth, yeah, this is strange from Will Houth. I mean, I'm not sure if everyone else has caught up with him or he's having problems, because usually at this point he's about a lap ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, Will Houth, he's not been able to get away this time out. Ian Jackson just looks like he has the pace though, but Will Houth diving down the inside, Doctor's dangled, and he's hit him, and it looks like now he's made the move. He's got it working, and now 7 laps to go of this race as we cross the line. Will Houth needs to try and get away, because Ian Jackson, he's looking so strong. He was looking like he does have a good drive out that final chicane going on to the back straight. As we see there, the Jason Pugh bike with Jack Andrews on it just coming past. It's so great that he's managed to get the bike going, but Will Houth now, he's really, really wide. He's lost that race lead. Ian Jackson on the 270 leads. He has a little bit behind him, as now even Jamie King's like, how did that happen? How am I ahead? As now Will Houth has managed to get past Jamie King on the number 96 bike. Of course, Will Houth having a great result on the senior mini moto class and on the moto team class this weekend. It's a busy, busy weekend like usual. Of course, round 2, Darren Anderson was here as sparring partner. He's not here, but the 270 of Ian Jackson looks to have the pace and looks to have cards to play with Will Houth.
6 laps left to go as they come to the line, so still quite a distance to go in this second moto team race. And Will Houth suddenly switched it back up again. I wonder if he's just having a bit of fun, you know, because he's all of a sudden he's gone from fighting with Jamie King on the 1 and falling back and seeming like he had a problem, and in about half a lap he's all over the back of Ian Jackson. And I think, I mean, I'll have to ask him over the lunch break, I genuinely think Will Houth is just having a giggle here, because you know every single weekend he's just, that bike and him, that combination is just so fast. I mean, at Ella Park, he did 2 last to first challenges, and on the second one he went from the back of the grid, as in like the final grid slot, and then waited for everyone to do half a lap, and then went and still utterly dominated the race. He was in the lead by like the 2nd lap. You know, the bike and the track and the rider combination is just so strong. And yep, there you go. Will Houth to the inside, to the lead, into the hairpin. Classic racing move, just on the back. Oh, runs slightly deep though, and Ian Jackson with the cut back to the inside will maintain it with 5 laps left to go as they come to the line. Will Houth still looking for a way through. And Jackson, to be fair to him, that was pretty smart, knew what Houth was going to do, just left his brake as late as he could. Houth took too much confidence into the corner, and just the cutback worked, and Jackson back into the overall lead. Of course, remember, this fight doesn't matter for the championship. These two are in different classes, but they're going at it anyway. That's brilliant from Will Howarth into Chandler's. Rarely do you see a move like that. It's such a tricky, bumpy right-hander. It is so fast down the bottom end of the track. That is superb for the overall race lead. And again, this fight literally doesn't matter. They're in two different classes, but Ian Jackson's still going for it past the lap traffic. Oh, but he has to summon the anchors. Oh, and someone down.
Madison Martley.
That is Madison Martley. Martley who's gone down at turn 1. Yellow flag is out. So Will Howarth will hold on to the lead just for a little bit longer with 4 laps to go as the yellow flag waves. No overtaking in that section, but a shame for them. But again, they shouldn't really be fighting. There's no reason for them to fight apart from just pride.
Yes, certainly. It's just a racer in them coming out, and they're coming out in force because Will Howarth now leads by a significant gap. They're doing about 54s in qualifying. Will Howarth was doing a 52.5. So Will Howarth could go 1.5 seconds faster than what he's currently doing. It's very hot conditions though right now as Jamie King is under pressure from Jack Andrews, his motorcycle right now, the number 14. Jack Andrews watching this battle going on with his motorcycle just behind on Jason Pugh's bike, but Ian Jackson on the 270 dropped back just slightly after that incident from Madison Martley, maybe just taking it slightly steadier during the yellow flags. But Jack Andrews, his bike's currently in 4th, but Jack Andrews himself currently in 5th position in this motor team class. It's so confusing, but we love it for what it is. It's so unique, and it's such a cheap and affordable way to get racing here at FAB. It's one of the cheapest classes, if not the cheapest class in the country, really, because all you have to do is buy a street bike, put some fairings on it, or even remove some fairings in Jamie King's case, and go racing, and it works, and it's producing this excellent race as Jamie King is really having to defend with 3 laps to go.
Now this fight does matter because the number 1 and the number 14, they are both in the standard class, so this fight does matter. This is for points. Of course, Jamie King, the reigning champion from Motor Team. Last year we didn't classify the 2 classes separately, so it was one overall champion. It was also pit bikes style machines were allowed in Moto Team. And obviously you did have the 2 champions of the different categories, but then there was also an overall champion, and that is why Jamie King's carrying the 1. Of course, a 4-time champion in FAB-Racing, 3 times in pit bikes, 1 time in the Moto Team class. This year, they're categorized separately. There is no overall winner. The overall winner gets no prizes, no spoils. So this fight does matter for the points. Up the front, of course, it doesn't. And then the Pugh machine with Jack Andrews on it, even though Jack Andrews' bike is in 4th overall, and 3rd in class is in the open. So the rider in 5th and the riders in 3rd and 4th, they're in different classes, so their fight doesn't matter. There is Will Howarth. He's managed to pull away once again from Ian Jackson. And where actually is Ian Jackson? I don't know is the answer, because Will Howarth has decided to bolt into the distance once again. So I'm convinced he's just playing around, to be brutally honest. Last lap flag waves. One more tour of this Llandow kart circuit, the South Wales Karting Centre here in the south of Wales, funny enough, just 20 miles west of Cardiff. And Will Howarth, he is basking in the sunshine. He's having, it's just a Sunday afternoon. Well, it's a Sunday morning. Is it a Sunday morning still? It's a Sunday day ride just for him, isn't it? And it's been a fantastic, it is the afternoon. It's a Sunday afternoon ride for Will Howarth. He's been loving life out there all season long. And the rain we all thought was coming has stayed away. And it is lovely and blue and just nice here in Llandow. And I'm sure the sun is smiling just as Will Howarth will be smiling under the helmet as he comes to the final corner to take yet another race victory in the Moto Team. A brilliant ride once again for Will Howarth. The number 96 takes the overall victory and the open class. Ian Jackson, where's Ian Jackson? He's going to bring home the standard class victory. There he goes, he shakes his fist, and behind them Jay King finishes 2nd. Jack Andrews, or the Jack Andrews bike, finishes in 3rd. Jason Pugh takes 2nd, or the Jason Pugh bike with Jack Andrews on it takes 2nd in the open class, and Phil Mapplebeck on the number 19 will take 3rd in the open class. What a ride for Will Howarth. Ian Jackson, he was delighted with that one as well. He was loving life as he came across the start-finish line out of our commentary box window. But Will Howarth, again, brilliant.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was just pure brilliance. He just knew that he had the pace in it. He waited and then showing it all at once, really. We knew with the qualifying results that he had slightly more pace in his back pocket than 54 seconds. Will Howarth, though, great race, and he just looks so confident on that moto team all year, really, especially around this Llandow circuit. So we're just waiting for the riders to head back to the pits, and there's Madison Martlew after a pretty disastrous race, crashing out on the 888 bike. Maybe now just seeing if it restarts, if we can get the bike going again just for race 3, because there's still race 3 coming up if you enjoyed that moto team race. And we still have a couple more races before we head off for our lunch break, so stay with us here at Fab. Thanks for joining us so far today. Plenty of action still to come in this sunny Llandow circuit in the south of Wales, as Madison Martlew gets a little help in hand, gets a push back to the pits, and hopefully get the bike ready for race 3 later on.
Yeah, it's you know, as we see some of the crowd watching along, hopefully everything is okay for race 3. And Madison Martlew slowly making their way back as getting a push along. It's not the quickest way to get around a motorstock. Usually the quickest way is to have the engine running, but sometimes things go wrong. Mechanical failures are unfortunately still a mainstay in motorsport, despite the advances in technology. If you've just tuned in, hello and welcome. That's us up in the commentary booth. I'm shooting you a wave in the top right of your screen. But hello and welcome. And thank you for joining us here at round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. And we hope that you are having a wonderful day, just as we are here in Llandow. As we get ready for the LC40 Elites here. Race 2 at the South Wales Karting Centre, the Llandow Kart Cup in the south of Wales. As we see some of the riders just hanging around, chilling, obviously not taking part in this LC40 Elite race there. But of course, we saw a fantastic race yesterday with Finlay Polhill taking a well-deserved victory after the Johnson brothers just seemingly not on the pace for the first time in what seems like a long time, and Polhill was absolutely delighted as they get going for their formation lap. It's race 1 winner, Finlay Polhill, who goes from the pole. Byron Johnson starts in P2 with Austin Johnson P3 and Sam Gardner in P4. Harrison Day, he starts in 5th with Matthew Thomas alongside him. Jensen Bishop and Chloe Gleeson, the first female pole sitter in FAB-Racing history at Llandow last year. They're on row 4. Oliver Hall and Dylan Torian round out the top 10 with George Ackerman and Callum Maxwell following them in 11th and 12th. A great race yesterday in the LC40 Elites, and well, Lewis, as I said, the first time in quite a long time that both of the Johnson brothers just mysteriously not on front-running pace.
Yeah, Byron's actually ahead of his brother in qualifying, which is something that we're not used to seeing, of course. In this LC40 Elites, it's got 2 classes. It's got the air-cooled bikes and the liquid-cooled. Usually the liquid-cooled is slightly faster than the air-cooled guys, so Byron on that air-cooled bike has managed to beat his brother on the liquid, so Austin will definitely be wanting to beat his brother once again today, but it's such close race, and Finlay Polhill, he's just shown pure class yesterday ahead of both Johnson brothers, which is something that we don't normally see. But the real question is going to be, what can Sam Gardner do? He had quite an eventful day yesterday, the bike breaking down really on the warm-up lap and them not being able to make the restart of this race. So what is going to happen? Is it going to be a Byron Johnson walkover, or will it be Finlay Polhill trying to repeat what he did yesterday? It's the first race of the day for these guys, second race of the weekend. We wait for the lights to come on, and then we can get out the way. Lights are on, and lights are off, and we are racing. It's Finlay Polhill off the line, out of the gate, has straight away taken the race lead, and now it's a Johnson. Both of them are just straight away on his tail. Further back, it's Harrison Day trying to catch up to Matthew Thomas. Matthew Thomas, though, looks to be making a move on Sam Gardner, but he backed out of it straight away. Finlay Polhill in this race lead, and a commanding race lead so far. He's just looking so confident, but he's got 2 Johnson brothers behind him, which is not what you're wanting to see in the LC40 Elite class. As further back, George Ackerman having that battle for the final couple of positions, as now the Johnsons are fighting with each other. That's just going to slow them both down and going to let Finlay Polhill just start to edge away and edge a gap, which is the last thing that you'll be wanting.
Yeah, it looks like Austin's already got in front of Byron. So the larger of the 2 brothers, Austin on the liquid-cooled bike compared to the smaller of the 2 brothers, Byron on the air-cooled bike. Of course, wearing exactly the same outfit, exactly the same livery on the bike. The only difference is the tiny number on the front, which is quite hard to see on the camera. So you gotta try and take a guess sometimes. Well, I believe it is Austin, who's worked his way into that second place and is now setting his sights on Finlay Polhill, which took him quite a while to do yesterday. About halfway through the race, he just kind of hit a brick wall about 2 seconds back and just couldn't quite get any closer. Last time at the line, he was 5/10 away, and yep, can confirm it is Austin in second place. So we'll be trying to close down Finley a little bit quicker this time round. Those top three are a lot closer than they were in race 1 after the start of race 1. The Johnson brothers had a bit of a dramatic start, just both of them struggling on the getaways, unfortunately for them. Oh, and I can guarantee you, Austin Johnson is a lot closer to Finley Polehill now with 7 laps left to go than he was at any stage during race 1. There is Austin Johnson, 4/10 was the gap this time. Further back as well, there's some action going on. Austin, of course, has been dominating this LC40 Elite Championship just in a class of his own. He's got that liquid cooled bike and all the other front runners on air cooled, so typically it gets to a certain point in the weekend he just sort of runs away at the front. But he is a great talent, and I'm going to presume next year he'll be moving on to the mini GPs, and I'm very excited about both of the Johnson brothers. Fantastic talents, Byron of course a little bit younger, so can't quite make the transition yet, but one day. But Austin, I presume, will be on his way up. Finley Polehill, of course, already competing in the 50s mini GP class. He's made that transition, got a podium in race 2 earlier on, managed to get into second place. Austin Johnson was looking to the inside there as you see Harrison Day having a look to the inside of Matthew Thomas and getting through Matthew Thomas with the switchback though. But no, Day gets the drive, very comfortable, very clean move.
Yes, certainly, and Sam Gardner is now going to have to defend from Harrison Day. Harrison Day, the bright pink helmet is so easy to see. He's been wearing it basically all his career, but now Matthew Thomas wanting to get his own back, wants to get back in front of Harrison Day, wants to ruin his day, but now Harrison Day getting a massive wobble on. Bike really protesting there, but confidence is not getting knocked right, runs slightly wide on the exit, trying to carry all the speed, all the momentum as possible. 6 laps to go in this race. It's a right old scrap for this fourth position right now. This 4th position battle goes all the way back to about 8th position. So there's quite a lot of riders in this group, 9th position even, with Jensen Bishop. So right now though, up front, it is still Finley Polehill who leads, but Austin Johnson slowly closing in that gap, it seems. But Harrison Day now looking down the inside. What he did 1 lap ago to Matthew Thomas, who's wanted to repeat it there, but he just couldn't, as now he's looking towards turn 1. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can. He's ahead of Sam Gardner. Sam Gardner has dropped back down to 5th position. So Harrison Day now 9 seconds he has to call back though to get on the podium. So Harrison Day up into 4th place. Pretty good comeback right now, but Sam Gardner and the massive group behind them will be wanting a piece of him.
He might be the most awkward person in the entire paddock to interview due to his quite annoying sense of humour, but oh my word, is he fast out on track, Harrison Day. What a nice set of moves there and a nice couple of laps to slot into that 4th place. The top 3 bolted away, but they've started to spread out, so there's not really a battle going on at the moment. They're just sort of following each other in a spread out procession. But here, this battle for 4th, we've got 5 riders all within touching distance of each other. Harrison Day starting to get a little bit of a gap. No one makes a move into the hairpin this time. Looks like that was Matthew Thomas who wanted to have a little look to the inside there. And actually, no, it was Chloe Gleason, apologies. So Chloe Gleason's managed to work her way up into P6. Great stuff from her this time. Last year, of course, well, not this time because Llandow was the final round last year. She became the first female pole sitter in FAB-Racing history in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup round. So obviously a track with fond memories for her. She clearly likes around here, and of course this doing pretty well. She's been steadily progressing this season in the more senior mini-moto classes, and all trying to the inside though. Is that Matthew Thomas? Yes, it is. It's gone through. Nice move there on Chloe Gleason. And now trying as well as that Jensen Bishop, I think. No, Matthew Thomas. Everyone's all over the place. I'm not quite sure. It was Jensen. No, she's back where she was. I've got no idea. It's still Chloe Gleason in there. Look at Harrison Day. He's managed to completely run away from this fighting pack. And look in the background as well. That is Jensen Bishop to the inside of Matthew Thomas. Matthew Thomas, though, gets the switchback. It's anybody's guess he's going to finish 4th at this rate.
Yeah, Jensen Bishop now is on the move and is on the way to get past Chloe Gleason, and now Chloe Gleason setting her sights on Sam Gardner. So it's a real packed battle. This is what we love to see from these young riders as Chloe Gleason tries to dive down the inside there. Chloe Gleason, of course, being on that number 25, quite a big number on that mini moto, so quite easy to spot. But Harrison Day's just got away from this group and got away out of the danger zone because Sam Gardner, he's under a lot of threat. If he makes one mistake, runs just slightly wide, he has 3 mini motos coming past him with 3 very talented riders on them. So now the real question is, can he just keep his cool, keep his calm, and keep these 3 riders behind them as further, yeah, you can see further back in your shot, Sam Gardner managing just to cause a little gap on Cody Gleason. Cody Gleason last time around was a 2.5 second gap. What will it be this time? And now they come across the line. Cody Gleason, it's a 9/10 of a second gap, so nothing between it, but Jensen Bishop is right in her tail, so now we just have to wait and see what's going to happen, because all these guys wanting just to make as much moves as possible, try and find every opportunity, because right now it looks like Matthew Thomas is the real loser out of this pack battle.
I mean, it's so close to call. I mean, even if Matthew Thomas finishes where he is in 8th, he's had a fantastic performance. In this battle, it's just anybody's guess as to where they're going to finish. You've just got to be in the right place at the right time. With 2 laps to go on the clock, and it is tighter than ever in that fight for 5th place. Final lap for Finley Polehill, and look at that, Austin Johnson out of nowhere is all over the back of the race leader. Where's that come from? The gap was huge a few moments ago, and suddenly Austin Johnson, he can smell blood, he can smell a victory here, but he's got to get past the orange machine of Finley Polehill first, and that is no easy task, because Polehill has been absolutely perfect all weekend long, as Austin Johnson actually set the fastest lap last time out of 52.461. It's about 2 seconds off the lap record, which was set by Archie Gibbs last year. So the track conditions clearly not favourable to these mini motors. Oh, there's going to be traffic. Going to be traffic at the worst possible time for Finley Polehill. This opens the door. Austin Johnson to the lead, onto the back straightaway with 1 corner to go. Here comes Finley Polehill to the inside. This is unreal stuff on the final lap of the race. Who's it going to be? A drag race all the way to it's Austin Johnson on the final lap, who takes victory using the back markers with a drag race to the line. Oh my word, Finley Polehill will be devastated. Victory snatched from the jaws of, no, defeat snatched from the jaws of victory was what I was trying to go for. And this battle here is going to come out on top. Believe Sam Gardner was on top in that fight. Yes, he was. Chloe Gleason 6th. Jensen Bishop 7th. And Matthew Thomas, as you said, has wound up in 8th. But again, a great race from all 4 of those guys. Oh my word, talk about late drama in race 2 of the LC40 Elites. That was brilliant racing.
Yeah, it was. It was a great result. Austin Johnson getting that race win from Finley Polehill with the back markers coming into play. And his younger brother, Byron, coming home in 3rd to round off that podium. But what a great result that was, and what a great result it is for the family. Johnsons, they're no stranger to getting race wins and no stranger to constantly being on the podium, and that is why they're up front in the respective championships. But great race from these guys, almost like a Moto3 race from 4th to 8th place. They just couldn't get away from each other, and these guys, even such as Matthew Thomas, he will be delighted with that. He'll be coming back with a smile on his face because of the battle. But Austin Johnson takes the race win by just 0.3 of a second only over Finley Polehill. Byron Johnson comes home in 3rd with Harrison Day 4th. Sam Gardner in that massive battle comes home in 5th with Chloe Gleason, Jensen Bishop and Matthew Thomas in that pack. And Oliver Hall comes home in 9th with Dylan Tureen, rounding out our top 10 in the LC40 Elite class, the premier class of mini motor racing in the UK. But coming up now, we will have race 2 of the Mini F1 sidecars. Yesterday and all season, actually, we've seen some of the best racing that we've seen from the Mini F1 sidecars in such a long time. Mick Williams has a new passenger this weekend. There was so much drama before racing even got underway.
Absolutely, of course. Mick Williams, regular ride along. Mike Helms off having a baby for reasons that we can't understand, because why would you have a baby over doing FAB-Racing? Honestly, Mike, come on, sort your life out. Well, of course, congratulations to the Helms family. He's now got Josh Papworth in the sidecar. Josh's last FAB-Racing run was back in 2017, so a bit of a while for Josh. And Mick, coming into this round, he was speaking to our producer on Friday, wasn't feeling very confident. And well, to be fair, originally it looked like it was going to rain all weekend, and we were expecting it to rain all weekend. And we know that Mick really isn't a fan of the wet, shall we put it lightly. The bike just doesn't quite gel as it does in the dry. He struggles a little bit. So we'll have to see. It's obviously not wet. It's actually quite sunny, which is great. So we'll have to wait and see. Actually, I think that's the impies have just gone straight on. Yeah, so problems for one of the teams already as they're pedaling their way back. But so for a change, for the first time in a long, long time, it was not the 26 going from the pole position. It was the Green Streets, who actually had a protest lodged against them because they had a GoPro on the number 90 outfit, and which they've now taken off. Oh!
There was a crash actually going off the grid. So now the passenger is sitting in the grid slot, and that is something that you don't see every day.
Word.
And it, of course, was the Keats. You know, they've been known to be quite crazy, and now they have to do a whole lap. Jacob Keats has to do a whole lap without a passenger.
That is superb. I mean, everyone, he looks all right. He's up on his feet, and he's just demonstrating to the paramedic what actually happened. But the bike pulled away, and he just didn't move. And there we've got some problems as well for the Impies trying to get going. Oh, that is superb. The 666 machine doing the formation lap without the passenger. Let's run through the grid, shall we? It's the Green Streets going off pole position with the 369 of Vince Bailey in P2. The 26, the Mick Williams machine, goes from P3 with John Hosker on the 127 in P4. The Keats machine minus a passenger starts P5. Chris Impey looks like they'll be starting P6, but they've had some issues on the formation and haven't gone out for the formation, but they are on the grid now. And the 230 of Mark Pocket starts in P7. That has got to be one of the silliest things I've ever seen in a motor race. That is only the 666. Only the 666 would that happen. I mean, the sidecar just went, and the passengers, it didn't. It was just suddenly, oh, I'm on the floor. And it looked like they got a good laugh at it with the paramedic. But let's get serious. Let's focus on the racing, shall we? Red lights on, red lights off. Here we go in race 2 of the Mini F1 sidecars. It's a great start for the Green Streets. Oh, problems! Problems for the 369 of Vince Bailey. They've not moved. Oh, drama early on from P2 on the grid, and they are out of the race before it's even truly got underway. What a shame for the 369. That promotes the 26 of Mick Williams and Josh Patworth.
Oh, the Green Streets
around.
And
oh,
the Keats.
666. Oh, it's upside down. Oh, dear. Red flag out. Oh, dear. That is not what you want to see. An early drama here. And the Green Streets round, the 666 on its lid. Oh, dear. Hopefully everyone is okay, but the red flag is immediately out. If we get going again, that will, of course, be a full race restart, I presume. The Green Streets haven't broken the bike, so just a spin, clearly. So Mick Williams was actually leading for about 2 seconds there before the race got halted. And hopefully that gives the chance the 369 machine to maybe re-enter the race if they can get the bike restarted. Again, I'll have to double-check the regulations on that. Well, we've been told they're going back to the holding area. So maybe they're going to try and get back racing again. Try and fix the bike up, hit it with a hammer, see if it works. That's how my mechanic mind works. These, of course, these Mini F1 sidecars, all custom built, but they're not the most reliable of machines, shall we say. Well, the 26 in Mick Williams and Josh Patworth, yeah, leading for about 2 seconds. That's something they didn't do in race 1, to be fair to them. So, you know, I guess that's a positive start as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's maybe some hope that they can convert this into a race win, but lead them by just, only really a couple of seconds as you mentioned, but drama from the start in this race from the Green Streets. Green Streets yesterday had a great race, and Vince Bailey actually was personally my surprise of the race and of the weekend.
There is
and
Vince
there
Bailey.
they are, yeah, pushing it back. They should be able to make the restart if they can get the bike restarted, because they did take part in the original race start.
Yeah, the red. Let me just double check that. I will get you the official regulation, but as far as I'm aware, off the top of my mind, that is the red flag procedure. If you make the race start, yeah, here we go. Any rider or riders involved in a red flag incident, even if not the direct cause of the incident, are not permitted to take part in a restarted race or given a position or points if the race is declared competed. Well, I don't consider that to be part of the red flag incident, and you know, I feel like the race stewards downstairs, if they can hear us, they might be nice if they can get it fixed, please. Have to wait and see. The riders all are now up on their feet. There you can see the Green Streets, everyone just discussing what's gone on. Of course, the Green Streets had a bit of a spin before the red flag, so, well, luckily for them, a race restart should be on the cards. There is the 369, trying to get it restarted. Again, all of these mini F1 sidecars, custom-built racing machines. That is not Vince Bailey, that's the Green Streets. But right name, wrong photo. But they're trying to get it going. But yeah, they're all custom-built, and it's, you know, sidecars are, well, big sidecars are temperamental at the best times. Mini F1 sidecars, not the most reliable, but they're a lot of fun to watch, to be fair to them.
Yeah, they certainly are, and all the riders now are heading back to the holding area to join them in there. But a lot of these mini F1 sidecar guys are, well, they're quite mechanically minded. That's how these bikes are able to be a thing, and that's how the series is able to be a thing. So now McWilliams checking that they have to go back into the holding area and not straight back to the grid. Impey, they've had quite a lot of drama before this race even started. The bike wouldn't start, but they managed to get it started eventually, and then 230 of Mark Parker heading also back to the pit lane now. So there is the bike of Keats getting pushed back by two marshals back into the holding area, back into the paddock, out of harm's way. And then we're going to have to wait and see if we can get restarted for this race. And yeah, there's that sidecar outfit. It's not looking the best, looking a bit second hand. Hopefully mainly just cosmetic damage on that bike, and then hopefully we can see the Keats out for race 3 later on, because of course these guys do have race 3s.
Oh, there they are.
And
that's superb.
up on their feet.
That is absolutely superb to see. The 666 outfit, both of them up on their feet after going up and over. That is absolutely fantastic. Wow, brilliant, brilliant stuff. That is great to see. And just having a bit of a lie down. I think rolling a sidecar probably isn't the most comfortable, I think it's safe to say. I've rolled a kart before and that wasn't fun, so I can imagine rolling a sidecar isn't exactly great either. As we see some of the riders watching along, Rossi Banham with his shirt off for reasons only Rossi Banham can explain. Watching along. But yeah, great to see both of them up on their feet. That is the main thing. Keats actually broke his ankle at Wilton Mill on Thursday night and then was still racing on Saturday and Sunday. And apparently was at Thruxton last week as well, having a go. So he's you know, he's a tough nut to crack. So I think if he is all okay, if they can get the bike better, I would not be surprised if we see them out there around in race 3. To be brutally honest, but that bike was not looking particularly healthy, to be honest. But we'll have to wait and see. But again, absolutely superb to see them both up on their feet after rolling the sidecar. We've seen them go on one or two wheels a fair few times this season. They're quite aggressive, the 666 outfit. They do like to push the boundaries of physics, shall we say. Just so I know we're going to get going once again. 6 laps, no warm-up lap either, so we're taking a lap off. No warm-up lap either. They're not the biggest fuel tanks on these sidecars, and are also just wary for time. Lunch is supposed to be fast approaching, but of course the racing comes first, doesn't it? Green Street's getting ready to go back out again. They have been the outfit to beat this weekend, but of course, well, Jason and Leo having a bit of a spin early on at the original start. They'll be counting their lucky stars. We're having a restart here, Lewis.
Yeah, it certainly will be. I mean, now it looks like Vince Bailey, it looks like the whole squad actually is having a little discussion down in the holding area right now. But hopefully they can get back out. Hopefully we can have almost all the outfits out. We should have 5, potentially 5 sidecars making this restart. Obviously no Keats because their bike's too badly damaged and they just need a breather to hopefully come back for race 3, because as you mentioned, Ross, they are tough guys. And yeah, now the paramedics having some words to the sidecar guys.
Second round of stern words that we're getting here at Llandow. Yeah, we saw him having a word with some of the roving marshals earlier, the parent volunteers. The FAB community, well, and Rossi Banham, who's still shirtless, for reasons only Rossi Banham can explain, the junior superstock rider, of course, leading the way in the Pit Bike 140 Championship this year, throwing on the high vis, going out and doing a bit of marshalling. But yeah, the paramedics have already had a bit of a word with some of them earlier. Now he's having a word with the sidecar guys, but they're getting ready to go racing once again. of course, minus the 666. So it'll be 6 sidecars making the start if all goes well this time. A 6-lap race, no warm-up, we'll be jumping straight in on cold brakes, cold tyres. That could be quite entertaining going into turn 1. Green Streets looking very professional, looking set to get racing. All focus for Jason and Leo. Yeah, main championship challenger for Mick Williams, and of course the race 1 winner, winning a race at Clay Pigeon as well. Pole position back at Wilton Mill, and the first time in race 1 that Mick Williams has been beaten in the dry in a long, long while. Everyone getting back in. We've only got 4 bikes out there.
Vince Bailey's just coming.
Yeah, Vince Bailey. There he is. There we go. So we've got 5 bikes. That's not the 6 I was expecting. So we're missing someone.
Keats.
Yeah, well, no, we're missing Keats, but someone else as well, because there's supposed to be 6 bikes on the grid, but we're going anyway. Okay. 5-bike race it is. Red lights, we wait for them. On they go. Restart time. Let's go. Red lights off. Oh, good start there for Vince Bailey, but there's issues again for the 369. The Green Streets will hold the lead. Oh, Vince Bailey. Oh, you gotta feel from another strong start coming to a slow and grinding halt, and they wheel it out of the way. They're definitely done this time in race 2, but it is the Green Streets that lead the way. And this time they don't spin through the left-hander before they make their way to Mac Huertas. Mick Williams, though, closing in. Of course, he wasn't quite able to challenge for the race lead in race 1, but this time he's very, very close to the back of the Green Streets. 2 battles forming here. The battle for the lead, the battle for third behind them as well, between Chris Impey and Mark Parker. So, have to wait and see. And there he goes. He does go briefly through, but the Green Streets fight back. And I've just realised that John Hosker never made the grid in the first place, and that's why I got confused, because we're missing John Hosker as well. Mick Williams to the lead in the 26 up the inside. Does he run wide? Yes, it does. The Green Streets. It's 2-stroke versus 4-stroke drag race. Mick Williams comes out on top this time. They lead. 5 laps left to go here in the Mini F1 Sidecars race 2. And Mick Williams, with a spare passenger, as I was calling it yesterday, is leading the race, but the Green Streets, they're going to challenge him for it.
Yeah, you could just see the better drive that they got out of the first chicane towards this tight and technical sector. It's almost hairpin after hairpin, but now the Green Streets are just having to try the hardest, pull the hammer straight away. They know how good Mick Williams is once can get into rhythm, but they look like they've lost some time coming out of there. Mick Williams have got that bike into the power band, and it's going well for them in the 2-stroke Red Bull inspired delivery outfit. They come round the back chicane, and the Green Streets, they want this race win. They got their probably their first race win in the dry yesterday, and now they're wanting to try and get some more, and they're slightly too far back for a move this time around. Maybe just taking a wider line this time around, try to carry more speed through, because Mick Williams has been known to run wide. We've seen actually earlier on in the year during Mick Williams' dominance that he likes to drift the bike about, but he can't do that here because the Green Streets are keeping them on his toes.
Yeah, it's a bit of an imperfect art for Mini F1 sidecars. Mick Williams obviously liking a sidecar that moves around quite along the corners, always a bit wide there, and that maybe opens the door for the Green Streets. No, just about holds on for the time being. As I was saying though, you know, some riders on 2 wheels and 3, you know, they just like a bike that moves around in the corners. They like a bike that's a bit tricky to ride. It allows them to push the limits and have tyres that can just forgive you, give little slides. Mick Williams is obviously one of those, but obviously normal passenger Mike Helms isn't here today, and as I was saying in race 1, the passenger is so crucial to the performance of a sidecar. You just have to understand what your passenger is doing, and if you've got, well, a spare passenger, as I'm officially deciding it's called now, alongside you, and you just haven't quite got that confidence, you don't quite know what they're going to be doing, you don't have that full trust in them. So it is difficult, but Mick Williams, with 3 laps to go, is leading the race from the Green Streets and could be in for what, well, I think it's safe to say would be his best win of the year, not because of his dominance, if we finish as we do, but because the fact that he's won it with Mike Helms, his normal passenger, not on the bike, because Mike ain't here, he's off having a kid. Unreal stuff, but the Green Streets still following them. Impey and Parker fighting for 3rd place as well, the final place on the podium. This is only a 4-bike race after John Hosker didn't make the start, and of course, losing the 666 into that red flag period. The Green Streets still following as they head down the back portion of the track and onto the Hangar Straight through the Dell. And the Green Streets, oh, I mean, they just gain so much on the exit of the corners with that 4-stroke immediate power, but then Mick Williams gets in the power band with his 2-stroke, and it just goes down the straight.
Yeah, it certainly does. You can just see how much confidence they have already. But obviously, McWilliams, before this weekend, he's been so used to Mike Helms that Josh Patworth has never raced with McWilliams. But it's so great to see them trying out new passengers because they had to come here, they had to race. It was only a 74-point gap going into this weekend. And almost the best way to think about of changing passengers, it's almost like getting a completely different setup on a normal motorcycle, because if you think about it, the way you turn a sidecar is with the passenger, and with the passenger transferring their body weight to one side of the sidecar. So if you have a new passenger that is a slightly different height and maybe a slightly different weight to what you're previously used to, your turning points are going to be slightly different, your braking markers, when you're going on the throttle, everything changes. So it's really for McWilliams to have to use all of his experience, all of his ability, and he's doing that now, and he's doing it with a race lead in his hand. It is so impressive. There's Emplay. They had issues at the start, well, their first restart, but now going on to the last lap are the front runners as these guys head down the back straight, battling for the final podium position. It is Impey and it is Mark Parker battling for it. The 4.57 runs slightly wide there, coming out of the hairpin, coming out of the final corner to start their last lap of the race. The last lap flag is of course out, the yellow with the black cross. But there is your race leaders. The number 26, Mick Williams. They've been so impressive this year. Although their winning streak ended, they are still being so dominant with a completely new passenger. Josh Patworth is definitely putting in the work right now. It is a sunny conditions. It's exactly what we didn't expect this weekend, to be honest. We expected rain, we expected it not to suit these guys, but it's really helped them out. These conditions, it's been a godsend, but it's Mick Williams who's back on top. A new passenger, Mick Williams and Josh Patworth win race 2 in the Mini F1 sidecars over the green streets. First time this weekend, Josh Patworth have been on the bike and they still managed to call out an amazing result. You can see the sportsmanship there. And going down the back straight now is that battle for the final podium position. Chris Impey runs slightly wider on the exit there compared to Mark Parker, but it looks like Impey are going to get that final podium. They'll be happy with that result, but Mick Williams back to his usual form, and as they cross, everyone crosses the line actually. We have Vince Bailey giving them all claps, but there are first and second position. Green Streets, great ride once again, but Mick Williams showing his experience.
That has possibly got to be the best win I've ever seen Mick Williams take, and I've seen a fair few in my time in this commentary booth. Not because he was up the road by about 20 laps as he often is, it's because what he's done with a new passenger in. That is unbelievable, and that just shows the adaptability and the talent of Mick Williams. Of course, the Green Streets gave it all they could, but just that 26 machine once again on top. And shouts out to the Impey machine as well, the 4.57. They went from nearly not making the restart after they had trouble getting the bike going again to finishing on the podium. That's not bad, is it?
Yeah, it's so impressive, and they kept their cool during that whole situation. Vince Bailey, though, I feel really bad for them. It was almost an identical race start. They got a good start, and then the bike just conked out in them. It's so disappointing, but still one more race to go for these guys. Race 3 will be later on this afternoon. A couple of races still to come up, but that is it for our action before lunch. Join us after lunch, where we'll have about a 45-minute lunch break, and then we'll be back to bring all the action. We have a couple of race 2s still to go, and then all of the race 3s. So if you liked what you see, share across all social media platforms. We'll be back after lunch, so we'll see you then. And until then, we'll see you in 45 minutes. Goodbye.